Okay. That was a football game that was played.
Was it?
I guess. A lot of hype this week. And no touchdowns. Welcome into the CHGO postgame show. Bears postgame show, I should say. Packers 17. Bears 9. And now what? My name's Adam Hoge. Mark Carman's next to me. Greg Rags Jr. still repping his Bear stuff.
Yep.
In his sweatpants.
Yep. That you're jealous of.
I am. I'm going to go to Costco tomorrow and buy them.
Are those Vuori?
They're just the Costco special.
Oh, okay.
They're secret pants that look nice on the show. But
that is how interesting this game was.
Yeah.
Is that we're starting the show off with my pants.
Well,
I don't know what I don't know what that was. How do you? I don't.
It was 1, 2, 3 Cancun.
I don't. Well, but it wasn't. That you were coming in here to knock the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs, to finish your season on a high note, to show that you were not the team in week 1 at the end of the season, to stamp the progress that's been made, and to go up there and to, in essence, not show up, not score a touchdown, throw the ball 16 times, get sacked 5 times, do nothing all day. Tackling was horrendous. Like, what? I mean, playing for pride, playing for something, all this on the line, and it's just like 1, 2, 3 Cancun. It was just really disappointing. I can't even. I'm pretty stunned. I really am.
I'm a little stunned that it was not more competitive than it was. I mean, the Packers, quite frankly, were just the better team, really from start to finish, other than the Bears having a 3-0 lead because they had the ball first.
Right.
But even after that, the Packers drove down the field. They just missed a field goal, and they were that close to a touchdown. They got knocked out. A couple plays were made. Here's my overall takeaway, though, and it's this. I think that this was a more – this might end up being a better outcome than what we had talked about all week, which was them riding high into the offseason by finally knocking off their rival. Because I think that this served as a reminder of how much work is still left to be done. And a reminder that all these good things, which are valid, the run that they've been on, all the progress that's been made, all that progress we talked about for the last couple of weeks is still all valid. It's still all valid. But this was probably the necessary reminder you needed that you're still not that close to being a Super Bowl contender, like a real Super Bowl contender. There's a lot more work that needs to be done, and it starts, once again, with just beating the Green Bay Packers ever. This is now 10 in a row. Matt LaFleur is 10-0 against the Bears as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Once again, you have a losing record in your own division. The Bears finished 2-4 against the NFC North now. Instead of being able to go 3-3 and say they beat all 3 of their rivals, didn't happen. And the fact that it wasn't even that close, that it wasn't that competitive, I mean, the amount of chats we had pregame, Bears have the better roster. No, the Bears don't have the better roster. And the scary thing is the Packers also have the youngest roster in the entire league. They are the youngest. They said this, credit to CBS, they said this in the broadcast. The Packers are the youngest team ever to make the playoffs since they started keeping track of that in 1970. And once again, we're sitting here in a situation, we got to call it as it is, guys. You can still sit here and make your Justin Fields defenses tonight. I'll listen to them. They're all valid. But Green Bay has the better quarterback. It sucks. That was not supposed to be how we were sitting here after Week 18 when the dust settled. And unfortunately, it was the reality in Week 1, and we all hated it then. And we had to admit it, but we're like, it's just one game. No, now the season's over. And once again, the Packers had the better quarterback tonight, and they've had the better quarterback for the whole season. It sucks to sit here and admit that, but I hope it's the necessary reminder. Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, Matty Eberflus, if he's still here, and he probably still will be, they all need to realize that going in the offseason. They're not as close as they think they are.
Yeah, it's fair because a lot of Bears fans wanted to, including myself, had drawn the parallel of, okay, we are the Lions of last year. This is how we're going to finish our year, and look what the Lions did this year with that momentum. The Lions ended up with, 9 wins last year, and ousted Green Bay at their house last week of the season to finish on a high note? Well, I mean, the Bears, had they won, would have only been 8, not 9. And if you go to the 9 wins the Lions had, they started 1-7, right? And they went on this hot streak. I can promise you they had more complete games than the Bears did on that run and that ascension to finishing with a lot more momentum. Now, last week, that was the most complete game they've played in 2 years. But there wasn't enough of that, and you needed to finish on a high note. Again, Ryan Poles said consistency. That's what I need to see from this team the last 6-7 weeks of the season. And you cannot say that it's been consistent since Justin Fields has returned. It's been a lot of up and down. Week 1, when the Bears played the Packers, Jordan Love, 15 of 27, 245 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Today, 27 of 32, 316 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a team and a quarterback that showed from week 1 to week 17 he got a lot better. Justin Fields, week 1, 24 of 37, 216 yards and a touchdown. Justin Fields, week 17, 11 of 16 and 148 yards against a team and a defense in the Green Bay Packers that's ranked 30th in DVOA. That 2 weeks ago against a 2-win Carolina Panthers team, they gave up 30 points to the Panthers. Bryce Young threw for 330 yards and 2 touchdowns against this very same defense. Yes, the Bears had injuries. No Darnell Mooney. The offensive line, Nate Davis goes out. Your center is out. Your center's already been terrible. But it's not like the Panthers trotted out some Pro Bowl team and were still able to be productive against this same defense.
Think about this real quick, Carman. The Packers probably still might. It's on the table they still fire Joe Barry, their defensive coordinator, because that's how bad things have been going for them. And they're going to the playoffs. And the Bears are not going to fire their offensive coordinator?
Well, so let's talk about that.
I'm just saying that's a scenario that could happen where the Bears keep their offensive coordinator and the Packers fire their defense coordinator despite what happened tonight.
Well, the momentum has not felt good to me for Luke Getsy. I think for everybody looking at it for a while now. I mean, maybe there's a scenario where everybody stays, but I would not bet on it. And what I'm looking at here, if you look at, because I don't want to put it all on the quarterback. I don't want to.
No, the offensive line was terrible today.
Right. I don't want to put it all on the O-line. I don't want to put. I'm the whole thing. All right. The Green Bay Packers this entire year have given up less than 9 points once. It was to a guy by the name of Brett Rippon, who was starting.
He was on the Bears once.
Yeah, he was. Well, he didn't play.
Boise State's finest. Brett Rippon.
He was playing for the Rams at that point. He's on the Jets right now. Mm-hmm. He's been in the league for 4 years. He's played 10 games. He's got. I mean, he was horrible in that game. He was 13 to 20. That's the only game the entire season that the Packers gave up less points than they did to the Bears today. On a Bears team that is supposed to be ascending and stick the landing, nail it in the last week. You had the second worst performance against the Green Bay Packers, your arch rival who you seemingly should be spending time and figuring out how to beat. You had the second worst performance against them offensively the entire year, and the only person that did worse was Brett Rippon as a third string Rams quarterback. That's got to be incredibly tough, I would think, for Ryan Poles and company to swallow going forward.
It's going to be interesting what happens tomorrow in Hallis Hall, and we're going to talk a lot about that here on this show. By the way, again, welcome in. We know we got a lot of people watching right now. We appreciate all the support. Just know that just because the season ended tonight, it's not even close to ending for us. I mean, we are going to be here. We are your off-season home for daily Bears talk. No one has as much as we do. Every single day we're covering just the Bears here on this show. Nothing else except sometimes Carm's, weirdness comes in
whatever
a little
he's
bit.
Doing,
but other than that,
that's a good show.
It's mostly all Bears talk, and we are going to be breaking this down for a long time, including tomorrow. If anything happens tomorrow, we have a show scheduled at noon. But if anything happens tomorrow in the morning, we are jumping on. We're going to be live. We're going to be ready to go to give you all the coverage you need. So please follow us at allchgo.com as well. You can become a diehard there. Help support us. At least right now, please hit that like button. Please send this link off to a friend right now. You probably have an angry Bears friend somewhere. We're the therapy they need. And you're the therapy we need right now, too. So send off that link right now. Let's help grow this audience. support us here at CHGO. We really appreciate everybody who does that, including all these super chats that are flying in as well. How many do we have now?
We have 53 at the moment, including a couple $100 ones from our guy Chris Pagero. We'll get to those, I promise, as we go. Again, though, please hit the like button. We have over 4,000 people watching. I'm only seeing like almost 300 likes. That's not even 10% of y'all. Come on, please hit that little thumbs up for me. I know the Bears suck.
We appreciate as we try to grow. And we would also, we personally, it's not on us here, but we would like to personally apologize for the Chicago Bears and what they did to you today, because there was a lot of optimism coming into today. You were excited for today. We were excited for today. And even though the Bears weren't going to the playoffs, like it was going to feel like a celebration, borderline like we won the Super Bowl. We finally beat the Packers. We ended the 9-game losing streak. Hadn't won up there since 2015. Look at the way they finished the season. Won 6 of their last 7. Won their last 5 at home. Bang, bang, bang. Got it done. And we're sitting here trying to figure out what was that? Like, really, what was that? And I know that they were a little bit banged up or a lot banged up front, but
Then defensively, though, I mean, it felt like it was the same game plan as week 1, playing a lot of zone, not getting to the quarterback. You've got Montez Sweat this time around. Yeah, Jalen Johnson is out, but guys wide open in the middle of the field, sitting down in open spots of the zone coverage and just streaking down the field for big yardage, gashing us. It wasn't a good day for the defensive coordinator, a.k.a. the head coach. Wasn't a good day for the offensive coordinator. Wasn't a good day for the offensive line. I'm hard-pressed to find who it was a good day for today for the Bears.
We made the Packers look like I guess Green Bay's winning the Super Bowl. They must be with that the way they played today, right?
That's the thing that scares me is just it's a wide open NFC, and the last thing I need is in my life now is for the Packers to go on a run. So I really need whoever is playing them next to knock their
First of all, we do
out.
need to check something that non-Bears related is very important. What is the 49ers? Okay, so the Rams did win. So this is actually awesome. I mean, it's not Bears related because the Bears aren't going to the playoffs. But in terms of matchups for next week, I do think this is best case scenario. So the Packers get the 7th seed. They have to go to Dallas where they face Mike McCarthy in the playoffs, which is great. And also, to your point, Greg, a little scary because of all the matchups, I think the Packers could win. That one might be it just because of the circumstances. And then the other one in the NFC, Detroit will host Matthew Stafford and the Rams now.
Wow.
So you get Jared Goff versus Stafford next week, which is phenomenal. And then the Bucs will face the Eagles. I don't know if any obvious connections there, but that's a weird game between
the Niners. Yeah,
they played each other this year too, right?
Yeah. So
wait, the Bucs host that game?
Yeah, the Bucs host that game.
What the hell?
Yeah, because they won the
Eagles
they won the division.
had a complete meltdown here to end the year.
So that at least in the NFC, I like those matchups. At least
we did have a $100 super chat in here too.
We've got a couple.
We got a couple. We can't.
Let's
get to a few super chats. Whatever you want to do here, Law. And then I do want to. I have a feeling super chats are going to drive us into the Justin Fields conversation. But should we start at the top, maybe?
Sure, whatever that is.
Well, the top would be if you're Kevin Warren, and this can be a quick answer. Are you changing your GM?
No.
Okay. No.
No.
I think we're all in agreement there. Head coach. Does this game today do anything different for you?
I'm doing what I've been saying I would do for the last almost the entire season. Who is my number one guy that I'm interested in out there? If it's Jim Harbaugh or whoever, I'm seeing if I can get that guy. And I'm going to tell Matt Eberflus to sit tight, and we'll let you know where you're at when I have an answer. I don't have one right now.
That's the correct answer. I mean, could you fire Matt Eberflus tomorrow? Sure. But I want Jim Harbaugh here, and I've said that for months, and I don't care if people think it's a pipe dream. This is laying out on a silver platter for you. He has wanted to come back to the NFL. It is almost a certainty he wants to coach the Chicago Bears. All the question remains is, do the Bears want Harbaugh? Do they want to do what it takes to get him and pay him? And when you have an offseason in front of you, the opportunity you have in front of you, I beg of you, Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, please do the right thing and get Jim Harbaugh in here to coach this team for the next 10 years and watch this team become a perennial powerhouse because that man has a resume and an understanding of how to coach a football team. He's shown it in the NFL. He's showing it at Michigan. He's coaching tomorrow on the national championship stage. He just took down Alabama. Jim Harbaugh, the Harbaughs in general, know how to coach football. Every single person that has played this game will tell you the same. Brian Baldinger has beaten the Harbaugh drum for weeks on our show. Don't overthink it. There's a lot of things we'll talk about today. Don't overthink it. Do the logical thing. Get Jim Harbaugh here. Do whatever it takes. Period.
Jim, it's Ryan Poles, Bears general manager. You're the only call I'm making today. I'd love to talk to you. Shout me back. Sir Poles.
He'd like shuffle the phone over to some player on his team. Talk to him. He wants to talk to you.
Don Yee, what's up, dude? It's Poles, Bears, Chicago, Harbaugh, Lakefront. We've got the number 1 pick. We've got Justin Fields. We'll literally go whatever direction you want to go. We want to talk. Call me. Anybody? I mean,
get Jim Harbaugh. Like you just said, you can do whatever you want at the quarterback position. You want to keep Justin Fields? Fine. You want to draft Caleb Williams? Fine. We're going to follow your lead because you have an understanding of the quarterback position. You know how to develop quarterbacks. You know how to run an offensive system for a guy like Alex Smith and a guy like Colin Kaepernick. That's the kind of coach you want in here that can adjust to the strengths of your player, not just all your players on offense, but the most important position in all of sports, the quarterback position.
So Matt Eberflus is now 10-24 in 2 seasons. Okay, he officially finishes 7-10 this season, so it's 10-24 in 2 seasons. Versus the NFC North, he's 2-10. Versus the Green Bay Packers, he's 0-4. Are those fair numbers to hold against him after 2 seasons?
No, they're not. Listen, you had a tear down last season, and you have a building roster, but it is part of the resume. And again, that's why I'm not firing him.
Can I quibble with you?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if they would have won either of the 2 games against the Packers. I think of all the NFC North games they played this year, those were the obvious ones where they were outplayed the most. Okay? But the way in which they showed up for both of those games is unacceptable against your division rival. Especially in week 1, I'd say even more so than tonight. So
that's a tough battle right there because tonight you had all the momentum, you had it going on, and this is how you show up. They're both terrible. But go ahead. It's a fair point.
Okay, so I don't know if the overall record should count against him, especially last year's 3-13. But to me, the divisional record definitely does. You're telling me they couldn't win 1 divisional game last year? They went 0-6. They blew the game against the Lions at home. That still matters. Okay? And then this year, you finished 2-4, and the loss you had against the Vikings, in my opinion, you probably should have won that game. I thought they were the better team. Definitely the one in Detroit that they blew. So I definitely think that the losing record against the NFC North this year, and especially the 0-4 record against the Packers, that should be held against him.
I'm talking a little bit out of both sides of my mouth, but I'm not saying that it shouldn't be held against him. But I would not fire him even with how he's done against the North and even what he's done against Green Bay, unless you have a home run hire in front of you. I don't think he's look. It has been. He gets credit for me for turning around the season, for the way that locker room has been, for just the general direction that I thought the Bears were going. Today, obviously, is a huge, huge smack to the face of all of that. So, which is why I'm willing to move on. But I don't want to go into something where he's out tomorrow and now we're looking for the next one of him, whoever and not have a clear direction. That's not a winning franchise. You should know who you want. You should target him, and when you have him, you make the call. A la Rick Renteria, a la David Ross, and move forward. That's how, in my mind, that's how this should look. I don't think he's been that bad that you have to get rid of him no matter what.
And I agree with that. If they're going the Jim Harbaugh route, A, he plays a game tomorrow, and B, you have to get assurances from him that you're definitely like there has to be a conversation that takes place before you can't just fire Eberflus tomorrow and then not have a true direction.
There's also complicated Rooney rules. You have to like if it comes out that you now a couple things here that are actually important. The Harbaugh advantage is built into his head coaching candidacy in the NFL now is that you no longer can talk to employed assistants in person until like January 21st now. Whereas in the past, you used to be able to do that this week. Now you can't do that. So Harbaugh has sort of a built-in advantage, but that being said, you still have to comply to the Rooney Rule. So you still have to go through the process of interviewing minority head coaching candidates before you can even hire them. And if it ever comes out that you maybe had an agreement in place before that happened, then you get into trouble and then you get losing draft picks or getting fined or things like that. So you do have to be careful here, whether that's the Bears, whether that's the Raiders as well, because there's a lot of smoke out that the Raiders might want him. It's going to be a tricky little thing. And I guess my point is that this isn't something that's going to be resolved like a head coaching search in college where like they fire the guy on Monday and 2 days later the whole family's been moved from West Virginia or whatever already. Right. You're like, well, how did that all come together so quickly? Well, because they've been talking for 2 weeks before they fired the guy. Like that type of stuff, there's rules in place in the NFL. It's just not that clean cut.
And look, a quick note about the losing draft picks potentially if a Rooney Rule situation happens. The Bears have a lot of draft picks to lose, so let's just go with that.
Right. And look, it does feel mostly like a pipe dream that they're going to get Jim Harbaugh, that the Bears are going to have this flip. I mean, there's been some...
It shouldn't, though. That's what annoys me. It's right here on a silver platter for you, and we're still acting like, oh, this will never happen. Why? Because it's the Bears, and they don't do things that make logical sense.
But Kevin Warren... Look, Carman and I both went to Lurie Children's Hospital on Friday, and Kevin Warren's always the wild card. I went down, Courtney Cronin and I walked out of there together, went down the elevator, and we're both like, don't think anything is going to happen except Kevin Warren. This guy has a presence about him. He certainly talks a big game. He's talking about multiple championships. And certainly we've heard that rhetoric before in this town with other GMs and things like that. But if you're going to talk about all these things about why can't we do this, and he's got a track record of action behind that too, like the TV deal in the Big Ten that I've talked a lot about, that is sort of this lingering thing out there that if there was a time where something crazy was going to happen, something big that you're not expecting, that bucks the status quo that this franchise is usually, used to doing, now would be the time. And I have to actually give George McCaskey a little credit here too, because there have been smaller versions of this, maybe not so smaller versions. Remember last year, it was sort of out of the blue that all of a sudden a week after the season, there was a Kevin Warren press conference. And they were announcing this big hire to replace Ted Phillips. It was, to me, insane when the Bears announced they were going to purchase Arlington Park. Like, for a business in which the business has been the football team, this was a huge step out of the norm of what this organization has been, because they're not like these other NFL owners that have all this money invested in other places, and that's really how they made their wealth. So over the last 3 to 4 years here, we have seen smaller signs leading up to something, but now that Kevin Warren's here, it's just sort of that what if? Like, what? I don't know. I still don't. It still would surprise me, but it also wouldn't, because it'd be like, yeah, okay, now this makes sense. For everything Kevin Warren said, here's the action that follows it.
Well, he talked about he loves the energy that's in the building right now. The energy for the franchise from the outside, if they actually made a super bold move and moved on from the Flus and executed getting Jim Harbaugh, how much energy does that inject into the franchise period?
Right, because
that is game-changing is what that is.
No, you're 100% right, because if you're going to make this move, you got to do it right now, because you wait a year to see more of Flus, We'll get to the quarterback, same kind of decision. Like, you have an opportunity this offseason to make bold moves. And are you a bold franchise, or are you I'm going to play it safe and this was good enough franchise?
So Tracy Wolfson had a very interesting report in the middle of this broadcast tonight, in which she talked to Kevin Warren, and she was reporting back on what she got from Kevin Warren, and it was along the same lines. I mean, I do have to say that both Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles, everything they've said publicly, certainly suggest it would be a huge U-turn if all of a sudden Flus wasn't the head coach tomorrow, based on what they've said publicly. And they would have to answer questions about what they had previously said and why they still made a move. Now, that being said, one of the things I thought was interesting was Tracy Wolfson, she said that Warren referred to his time with the Rams,
Dick Vermeil,
with how it took Dick Vermeil till year 3, and that there were some similarities that he saw here. So do we think the Bears have Dick Vermeil?
I don't think we think the Bears have Dick Vermeil. I don't think the Bears think they have Dick Vermeil.
Does Kevin Warren think he has Dick Vermeil, or is that just stuff that comes out of Kevin Warren's?
I don't have a problem with Matt Eberflus. I think they have shown progress, especially since Montez Sweat has got here. I do think they fought through a lot of adversity, not all of which I fault Matt Eberflus for, with the whole Alan Williams and the running backs coach situation. But at the same time, I'm striving for greater. And yes, Eberflus has shown progress, and is he good enough? Maybe. Do I want good enough? No, I want great. Now, if I can't get great, if the Raiders are going to outbid the Bears, and that's why they can't just fire Eberflus tonight. The Chargers or the Raiders could come in and completely outbid, or Harbaugh could simply say, I'd rather go to the Raiders and be the king of Vegas for the next 10 years. And that's out of your control. But I do want them to try. I want them to try to be great. This is an opportunity.
So, to your point, Greg, I want everybody who's watching this right now, listening to this, close your eyes unless you're listening to this as a podcast and you're driving right now.
Am I closing my eyes?
Definitely do not close your eyes.
I close my eyes after the barbecue we ate. I might fall asleep.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the barbecue in a second, because we ate well tonight, that's for sure. But just close your eyes if you're in the situation. Even if you are the biggest Justin Fields fan, even if you're the biggest Matt Eberflus fan, just picture, take a deep breath and picture yourself May 1st, and your head coach is Jim Harbaugh and your quarterback is Caleb Williams.
I'm running naked down Lakeshore Drive.
Okay. Now open your eyes, because that was something none of us want to picture.
I gotta be
Rags completely took that inappropriately, and now we're all sick. Go ahead and vomit if you need to.
I took his ISO right before he said that. It's the best. We got to clip that. That's wonderful.
All right. But do you get my point? We're such prisoners of the moment, and I understand it, but is anyone really upset if it's May 1st and you have Jim Harbaugh as your head coach and Caleb Williams as your quarterback?
No.
No, hold on. Yes, there will be plenty of people that are upset.
I've
more so on the quarterback than the head coach.
But don't you still think there'd be a lot of optimism about the future?
There'd be a ton, and that's why I think if you hire Jim Harbaugh, this whole quarterback question that has a lot of vitriol attached to it. When you hire a guy like that, then the fan base starts to align with what your decision is. They trust Jim Harbaugh because he has a resume and a proven track record of being a good coach, developing good quarterbacks. So if he comes in, whichever way he chooses, to keep Justin Fields or to draft Caleb Williams, whoever's on each polar opposite end will sign off with that because of the belief in the head coach they've hired. So I think Jim Harbaugh is the type of hire for the majority, not completely everybody. There will be outlier fans. The majority of fans will now be brought together because everyone will feel right about that hiring.
Listen, we've got 5,500 people watching right now. They get Jim Harbaugh. That would be the biggest show in the history of this of CHGO without question. The Chicago Bears are hiring
khakis every day.
Are hiring Jim Harbaugh. If that happened at 2 a.m, the city would wake up. That's the reality of that. Now, how would it?
They hired Mark Trestman once at 2 a.m. Nobody woke up.
Nobody said that was a good decision. See, Bears
woke
fans
up at 7 a.m. to the news. And wasn't Bruce Arians at a hotel down the street?
Baltimore Colts moved out of
Meigs Field got bulldozed in the middle of the night. This is what we do in Chicago. We make big moves at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It's the Chicago way.
But I mean, if we're polling the fan base right now, are you moving on from Matt Eberflus? And it's amazing how these things just move week to week.
Do we have a poll? Should we put a poll up?
We got a poll up.
I got a poll that says if you were Kevin Warren, what would you do? Keep Flus or send him packing?
And where's it at?
Where do we stand?
I'm going to say it's 80%, maybe 90.
I just put this up recently, but we have already 700 votes, and it's 81% saying say goodbye to Flus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of that's reactionary to tonight. I get it. But I do think
I've voted 700 times.
I believe you, actually. All right. Now we got to get this quarterback conversation. We're going to have Nicholas Moreano joining us from Lambeau Field as well. We got to talk about this game a little bit as well. Stick with us. Please hit that like button. Also want to make sure you know about Circa, though, and how awesome the Circa Sports app is. They have tight money line splits. They're low hold models. So you get all these betting options. We get it. But they strive to be a minus 110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sports books, which may use minus 115 or minus 120 splits. What does that all mean? It means they're taking more of your money up front, but not Circa. Circa's giving you better value for the bets that you place. They keep as little as money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to other books. They also don't limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. They encourage you, download, explore all the other sports betting apps available. You're going to compare the lines. You're going to see that Circa's the best. They also have real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve any issues that come up in a timely fashion, unlike other books that use those chat bots. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app. Again, that's the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
If you are looking to up your fitness and just up your enjoyment of life, period, I think you should listen to me right now and you should go out and join a Midtown Athletic Club near you. There's 4 locations. One's in Palatine, another's in Bannockburn in the North Shore, Willowbrook in the southwest suburbs, and, of course, Midtown's Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park, the Taj Mahal of all health clubs. Midtown Palatine's got a new multi-million-dollar transformation going on. That place is sweet. Midtown Chicago, again, nicest facility I've ever been in. Tennis, literally everything. Spin, cross-training, group exercise, boxing, yoga, high-intensity, sitting around and hanging out, having a wonderful meal, have a cocktail, have a friend. The whole thing is going on. Listen, you can up your life in a million different ways here by heading over to midtown.com/CHGO, midtown.com/CHGO. You can find out a whole bunch more, and you can tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you. You do it. You hit me up. Tennis court, first one is on me. Let's play. Let's talk Bears. Let's live the dream.
Weird, because I haven't even gotten. Actually, I did get invited once. One time. I was busy.
Oh, one time. That's just a straight lie. But okay, there's a zillion super chats here. Wherever.
Yeah,
we're
gonna get to our top super chats that have come in so far. Right now, our guy Chris Pagero.
2 of them.
Coming in big.
Yeah.
He's fired up. $100 from Chris Pagero says, "You have got to be kidding me. I am at an absolute loss. Offense didn't do enough to separate. O-line, Tevin Jenkins, you're supposed to be the best O-lineman we have. Justin Fields didn't make the plays that counted. Not at all the team offensively we have seen these last 5 weeks, especially last week." Chris Pagero, again, another $100. And don't even get me started on the refs. I'm going to talk about the one sequence. First, Justin Fields' late hit, Bears' false start going against the Packers. Then you pull Justin Fields out of the game to evaluate him. Unbelievable. Sad it could be Justin Fields' last game.
That is actually a great underlining of how the Bears just really never took great care of QB1. The dude got smoked. The referee missed it for the zillionth time. His head crashed into the Lambeau Field turf. They didn't pull him off the field. No even timeout to let him I know they were trailing at the point you needed your timeouts. Well, he should have been taken off the field, should have been evaluated, put him back on when, the dude needed a breather, man, and the fact that wasn't called was just beyond upsetting. Thanks for both chats, Chris.
Yeah, we'll see if I get fired up enough by the time the show's over. I'm at the point of
just replay the video we posted already.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 rants of mine on YouTube of me yelling about the refs and Justin Fields this year. It's all out there. It's objectively hilarious that we got through the entire season and he didn't get a single roughing call the entire season. I mean, it's unbelievable.
How many QBs can say that in the NFL?
Someone please look that up.
That's got to be on some PFF or something.
If there's any quarterbacks that played nearly as much as Justin Fields this year and did not get a single roughing call in their favor, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. We know that. And this was the best part about this one was that the ref told on himself. Did you guys notice this? The referee that spotted the ball, who also could have called the penalty, he told on himself because he marked the ball 2 yards behind where Justin got hit, because he was marking it there because that's where you start your slide. That's where they're supposed to mark it. So just by definition there, you're saying this is where he started the slide. This is where he's supposed to be protected. And yet he got hit 2 yards farther. That means it's a late hit. That's what it means. So that was actually pretty funny, I thought. I wasn't even that mad. I just found it so hilarious at this point.
Well, Romo's reaction on the broadcast, dude, if that was you, Tony, and which it could.
There would have been 7 flags on the field if it was Tony Romo.
Come on, man. We've tried to figure out the reasons why, and yes, Justin's super athletic, and yes, he doesn't look like Tony Romo, and I don't know. There's incompetent referees. I'll boil it all together, but you would think at some point he would get a little bit of respect. And I know the Bears haven't won a lot of football games either. Maybe that's boiled all into it, but it's upsetting. He's looking around like, come on, man. Literally, it's my life on the line.
I think at that point he was looking around because he didn't know where he was.
Well, that too.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that too. All right. So we spent a lot of this week talking about what this game meant for Justin Fields. And I mean, I have to imagine it swings the pendulum a little bit the other way. And let's look at his numbers. So, remarkably, only throws the ball 16 times. Now, he got sacked 4 times. Is that the final number? 5?
5.
3 or 4 of those were on third down. So, and he scrambled a few other times. So, there were way more than 16 passes called.
Of course.
And this is kind of where, whether it's his fault, coaching fault,
offensive
personnel,
line,
whatever you want to blame it on. I don't care at this point. But the reality is this reverted back to the Justin Fields that we've seen way too many other times. So 148 passing yards. There's way too many sacks on there. The only thing is that he didn't turn the ball over at least. Although they dropped an interception in the end zone, if we're being honest, at one point. That should have been picked off. So this is the version of Justin Fields that started this whole conversation where he's not getting rid of the ball fast enough. He's taking way too many sacks. The only exception is that he didn't turn the ball over, and that's a positive, 100%.
Yep.
100%. Look, I'm already on record a bunch of times saying at this point I do not know what to do. Part of that's because you guys know I take the time to watch these quarterbacks coming out. I'm not done with my Caleb Williams evaluation. I'm not done with my Drake May evaluation. I am far along enough in this process, though, that when it comes to strictly quarterback play on the field, I do believe Caleb Williams would be an upgrade over Justin Fields at this point. And I've been waiting till the end of the season to get the full evaluation to even say that much. I do believe that. Now, that being said, that does not mean I am sold on drafting Caleb Williams and getting rid of Justin Fields, because the hardest thing to measure in the draft process with any player, but most importantly quarterbacks, is what's going on in here, in the head. How a player handles the locker room. Does he get the full buy-in from the team? Is he mentally strong? Does he have what it takes to play quarterback in this city? Those are very important things. And it's by far the hardest thing for teams to measure, and especially for us because we don't get to sit in rooms with these quarterbacks and really get to know them. Even they don't get to know them. Like one dinner, one combine visit, one visit even on their campus, like that's not enough time to make a decision or really get to know. You do not know what these guys are really going to be like until they get in your building. And sometimes you know very quickly that you made a mistake. So that's the thing that has me on the fence, because all those things I just mentioned, we know Justin Fields has that. We do know Justin Fields has that. He's passed that test. But when it comes to strictly playing quarterback on the football field, I think off of that evaluation, and that's why I keep telling, my gut is telling me that they're going to move on and go with Caleb Williams. That's what my gut is telling me on January 7th.
Yeah, I agree with you. To me, the most logical move now for Ryan Poles to make is to draft Caleb Williams. I'm sure he'll go through the process. The pendulum might swing here and there at times, but when they get in a room with each other at the combine, short of Caleb Williams completely torching those interviews, I find it highly unlikely that Ryan Poles isn't going to look at this guy the same way that Ryan Poles and that front office in Kansas City looked at Patrick Mahomes and said, we're going to draft this guy. Because as Dan Weeder was saying the other day in an interview, when Ryan Poles and the front office looked at Patrick Mahomes, they asked themselves not what he can't do, but what he can do. And when you watch Caleb Williams' tape, he's got unbelievable tape. He's got an unbelievably electric arm. He can make all the throws. There is questions to his tape. Can he consistently throw on time, or is he trying to do too much, similar to the way Justin Fields tries to do too much at times? And that's at the NFL level. But to your point about the locker room, that is a huge key, because he's not just walking into any NFL locker room. He's walking into an NFL locker room that for the last month has been chanting along with the fans, we want Fields. And that's powerful. And that's a tough thing for Ryan Poles that he's going to have to overcome as far as a hurdle as a leader in this as a leader of this franchise, as the GM. He's going to have to sell this to the team that this young rookie is going to come in and eventually earn their respect. He's not going to earn it right away. He's got to earn it through his hard work and his competitiveness. Because, you know, the guys in Kansas City, they love Patrick Mahomes. But what is he? Aside from just being a leader, he's competitive as hell. He wants to be great. Caleb Williams is great where he stands right now. But does he want to be the greatest? Does he have that fire like Patrick Mahomes does? That's going to be the hardest question for them to answer. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, Justin Fields' game today, 11 of 16. He was 9 of 10 at halftime. He did not throw a pass in the third quarter.
That's crazy.
And that is not all on him. For anybody watching this right now, we all saw it. The offensive line was putrid today. He only has DJ Moore to throw to, and when he throws to him, it's in time and in rhythm. But this is a timing thing, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe Justin Fields will find another team eventually if that's the decision Ryan Poles makes and has success in his career. Maybe. But at the end of the day, just like this opportunity with Jim Harbaugh, if you're Ryan Poles, you have an opportunity to make a bold move at quarterback. And if you want to try to push that decision down the road for years to come, you may not have another opportunity to draft a quarterback the caliber of Caleb Williams.
Look, you made the greatest trade of all time. You set up the franchise, and you ended up hitting not just a home run, but a grand slam, getting the number 1 overall pick the second straight year. You have an opportunity to draft the top quarterback in the draft. You have an opportunity to reset your QB contract line, the whole thing. So, look, and you've got a guy who's incredibly popular in the locker room, and you have a guy that you didn't support well, and you have a guy who's got an F-ton of talent that, you know, may be unlocked here or elsewhere. So it's obviously not a difficult decision. But, look, people are saying that he's a generational talent. What does Ryan Poles think? And what do the people around Ryan think that he trusts? And what do they tell, who he leans on to make these decisions? So, I mean, I find it hard to believe that you put yourself in this position and you're going to say, both on the coaching and the quarterback side, no, this is the direction I want to go. I am with the Flus and I am with Justin. I find it hard to believe that they'll do that and do it with confidence. But it also feels a drop reaction, because if they had won today and they'd put up 30, then it would be like, I have no idea how you're going to move on from them. But the fact of the matter is they didn't. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at it, the offense, Justin, Getsy, the whole thing, they threw for over 200 yards in 7 games this year. They threw for under 200 yards in 6 games this year. That is not the ratio you're looking for. They threw for over 300 yards once. There's no way that you can win long term doing.
You're talking just Justin Fields starts?
Yeah, I'm just talking Fields starts.
Okay.
I'm taking.
That didn't add up to 17.
I'm taking out the 2 and 2.
I'm no math guy, but I was with you there.
Yeah, good job. I'm taking out the 2 and 2 Tyson Bagent extravaganza.
The 4 greatest weeks of your life.
The 4 greatest weeks of my life.
And then when Fields came off, Peterman comes in.
That was
could
have had one more play of Ty Bagent if he hadn't gotten sick.
Would have been a touchdown, I'm sure.
I didn't follow through on what I threatened at the beginning of the game, which was I said if I see Nathan Peterman. No, I said if he throws a pass. He didn't throw a pass. He just handed the ball. I said if I see Nathan Peterman throw one pass in this game, I'm leaving.
Let Nate cook.
We got very close to that happening.
That's our tank commander. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He helped us get to the promised land.
That's a good point. Nathan Peterman's a big part of this rebuild. Don't you forget that. Josh, $9.99.
99.
$9.99.
Josh Dalkey?
99.
$100.
There you go.
$1 million. He says, gents, it's my birthday.
Happy
Had friends
birthday.
over to watch the game. Mistake. I'm in Minnesota, and they're all Vikings or Packers fans. I can feel you there,
friends.
man. This one hurt. I played linebacker in college. Nothing worse than a running back your team can't tackle on first contact. It's killer. AJ had his way with every tackler today. Love you guys. Bear down. Appreciate it.
Josh.
I mean, thank you so much. And the AJ part, it's like, how?
By the way, it's Aaron Jones, not AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon didn't play today, just to clarify.
I look, the point is that we not only have we been watching Packer quarterbacks do it, we've been watching Packer running backs do exactly what we saw today for a decade.
I know.
Can we tackle anybody?
That was wild today. The Bears, if you told me what was the one guaranteed thing that the Bears would do today, it would be they're going to stop the run, because that's what they've been doing all season.
I think we saw Eddie Jackson's last game in a Bears uniform today, and I love Eddie. I think
Eddie's his 100th game as a Bear too today.
It was rough, super rough.
By the way, I have sources telling me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh.
This is not serious. Well, it is serious, but it has nothing to do with the Bears.
Almost 6,000.
Has to do with us here at
you almost
CHGO.
gave a heart attack.
I promise I will not do that again. I forgot it was the end of week 18.
I do the breaking news around here.
Let me change this. My boss is telling me.
Yeah. Okay.
We are 28 followers from having 45,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Let's go.
There are over 5,600 people watching us right now. I would suspect that at least 28 people
Currently
among those are not subscribed to this channel right now. So if you are watching this and not subscribed to this channel, if you could really do us a favor and hit that subscribe button right now.
Let's go.
We can get to 45,000 right now, and it would be awesome. It'd be a great milestone. I forget where we were when the start of the season, but
not 45,000.
Definitely not there.
Not 40,000.
Yeah, so that'd be a great way to end the season here. So if you can hit that subscribe button, or if you are a subscriber, you could send this link to a friend. Say, hey, come check this show out. Hit subscribe. We really appreciate all the support. Obviously, we appreciate all the super chats, but continuing to spread the link and grow the show helps us very much as well. So thank you for doing that. Yes,
Law. It's pretty cool, man. 5,500 people watching here for the final game of the year. Just speaks to the passion, and better days are ahead, guys. You can clearly see this team is ready to turn the corner, and it's just a matter of what direction they take. But this team is going to be competitive next year.
We just hit our 100th super chat of the night. Thank you, everybody, for
That's
watching.
That's got to be a record, too.
Banging those out for us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
$10 from Todd Malarkey.
Total malarkey, but Todd Malarkey, sure.
Todd Malarkey.
Todd Malarkey.
Todd.
Todd.
Wow. It's not getting
He's
any
our
better.
Packers fan, if I'm not mistaken.
These eyes of mine. Here's the issue. Right after they were drafted, thank you, Roger. Right after they drafted Rodgers, sat. Love, sat. Mahomes, sat. You draft a quarterback and throw him to the Wolves, and he's way more likely to fail. I mean,
C.J. Stroud's going to the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We understand your point as far as letting a guy sit and watch. Some can do a lot of benefits for a young quarterback, but it isn't a one-size-fits-all. There's plenty of examples of quarterbacks playing right away and doing well right away. Patrick Mahomes, I'm sure if Alex Smith wasn't on the Chiefs and had played his rookie year, he would have turned out to be just fine under Andy Reid. I think the bigger question, if they are to move on, if they are to move on, let's just keep it there, is about the coaching. And if they're going Jim Harbaugh route, that's great. And if they decide to get a new offensive coordinator, because that's the one spot we haven't talked about yet, like, to me, it's a foregone conclusion if it's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams or whatever, college quarterback coming out, they cannot continue on with Luke Getsy. They just can't. He did not show enough here. And in this final game where you have personnel issues, your offensive line's banged up, you don't have Darnell Mooney, and you can't figure out how to open up a pass game, you can't blame that all on Justin Fields. It is your responsibility to eke out more than 9 points against one of the worst statistical defenses in football. If the 2-win Carolina Panthers, with their roster as it currently stands, which is trash, can put up 30 points on the Packers, you can muster up more than 9. I'm not asking for a lot, and I don't think polls would be either by saying they need to upgrade at that position.
By the way, they got us over 45K, so thank you very, very much. We appreciate that.
Let's get Let's get to 46 by the end of the show.
We can get to 46.
Can we get to 50K? We're not leaving tonight until we get to 50K.
We're staying on until we get to 50,000.
Corey Wooten, by the way, hopefully is going to be joining us in a little bit too, so that could add on a couple more subscribers too.
He's going to bully me back into Justin Fields like he did last
Well, I would like to have that conversation with him right now if he's going to join us, because here's the thing. So you brought up Luke Getsy there. What % chance do you think Luke Getsy's coming back at this point?
There's just logically, there's no way he can come back.
Okay, so if there's no way, can I remind everyone, is there, honest to God, so I mean this for all the people that want Justin Fields to come back. Do you want Justin Fields to come back with Luke Getsy? Or do you want Justin Fields to come back with his third offensive coordinator? Because to me, both of those options are not great.
What would Justin Fields want? That's a good question.
I'll take door number 2. I mean, come on. Getsy's been. What are we doing? Like, what is going on? It's week 18.
But
I'm sorry, but you're telling me that a person whose job is to play quarterback in the NFL, if he gets a new coordinator in February, January, whatever, it's 6-8 months. I don't know how many months it is for Braggs, but it's like 8 months to learn an offense. You can't do that.
I get that. Trust me, I understand that. But that's got to be. Just think about the decision you're making if you're Ryan Poles then. You are making the decision to bring Justin Fields back with this third offensive coordinator over drafting Caleb Williams.
I mean, I'll say this. It's kind of like Jason Campbell back in Washington back in the day. He went to that where he, to me, seemed like a good quarterback. But every year they were changing the offensive coordinator, and he never.
Well, Jay Cutler, we went through this with Jay Cutler here. He had a new offensive coordinator every year, and that was part of the excuse fans would point to of why it never worked out with Jay.
Yeah, what they didn't realize is that Jay was getting a lot of those guys fired.
Oh yeah, that was the point. Is it's always a chicken or the egg argument in Chicago, and it always eventually turned out to be that everyone was the problem. But we always want to assign one person as the problem, and a lot of times, especially in football, it's not that simple.
So here's an interesting super chat: $50, really appreciate it. 088 Jib.
JLB, yeah.
I can't read.
I mean, to spend $49.99 as an egg.
People could see the screen.
I can read it. $49.99. 088 JIB. Do we really believe?
You just did this.
What? What's wrong with spelling it?
It
was CHGO.
It was JLB. Which is what we were talking about, how he couldn't read it. You said, I could read it, and then you made the same mistake I did.
Well, it could be a capital I. Do we really believe if we place Caleb in this exact same situation, same OC, same O-line, same wide receivers, Caleb is an upgrade over QB1 in Justin Fields?
I think he's an upgrade from a passing standpoint. I do not think he'd be an upgrade from what Justin Fields does, scrambling and running. And to that point, I think it's a great super chat. It's still not a great situation. And that goes back to the other super chat we just had, which I totally understand the point. All these other quarterbacks that have had success have sat, but then you see C.J. Stroud this year who didn't sit. It's really about the situation you're putting these guys in.
Right.
And so this is a great super chat too. Like, I get you. Like, if Justin Fields couldn't succeed with this coaching staff, is Caleb Williams going to succeed? That's a great point. I mean, it's fair.
And I said this to Mark during the game. If you had played Caleb Williams today against the Packers with the O-line blocking the way they were and Luke Getsy doing his Getsy thing, he'd probably have been running for his life too. Is he going to get the ball out at certain times? But Justin Fields is also going to make plays that Caleb can't. So it probably would have been, but you're not dropping him in the same situation theoretically. Next year, they're going to add to this offense. They're going to have a new coach. And you could make the argument that Justin deserves that because he's been through the attrition here. But at the end of the day, it's a timing issue. There's an economics aspect to it. If you listen to Ryan Poles with Jeff Joniak this morning, that was mentioned. And if you see the way Ryan Poles has handled all these players, Roquan Smith, David Montgomery, the way he's handling Jalen Johnson currently, there is an economic aspect that Ryan Poles takes into consideration when he's talking about the future of his franchise.
And look, if you want to get the excuse train out for Luke Getsy and for Justin and for Matt Eberflus, the whole offense in general today, it's pretty impossible to win football games when your center is rolling the ball back to the quarterback, when your right guard gets hurt in the first quarter of the game, when your left guard, who's been excellent all season long, either has an injury or I don't know what happened today with Tevin Jenkins, but it was by far his worst. It was by far his worst game of the year. If you have those three positions failing all at once, you can't play offense. So you can. I mean, that is a way in which Poles could look at this and this as a extenuating circumstances. The way we ended the year, yes, it was bad and gross, but we understand why, and we're not throwing everything out, and we're not going to make a decision just based on that. We still love Justin. We still think that the offense overall was trending in the right direction. Look at the way we finished the last 60% of the season. All of that. They could say things like that. I don't expect they will, but they could.
Final exam, and they gave him a broken number 2 pencil. I mean, that's part of it.
A couple items I want to hit on here, guys. One is, with tonight's results, I don't know how you view this as good or bad news, depending on what you want. The Bears will not host Aaron Rodgers and the Jets next season at Soldier Field. Carman wanted that matchup.
I did.
They lose the tiebreaker to the Vikings, so they finish 4th in the division. Wow. Which the good part about that is it sets up another last place schedule. So strength of schedule.
And we locked up the number 9 pick in the draft.
And you get the number 9 pick. So those are the silver linings of this awful performance tonight. That means Aaron Rodgers will go back to Minnesota.
I was hoping you were going to say Green Bay.
No, because the Packers finished 2nd. Vikings finished 3rd. The Jets also finished 3rd. Patriots finished last, so that'll be the 17th game. Bears-Patriots is the 17th game on the schedule. Not necessarily in the order, but that's just the
ones that hadn't been
crossover.
decided yet.
That would be the one if the Bears had to host an international game.
Oh.
It could be potentially one of the options. Second, credit to Sean Hammond for this one because I'm just seeing this on Twitter. Justin Fields defending himself about that hit. He brings up a great point. Justin Fields saying, I just don't understand it. I got to come out 2 plays after the play for a potential head injury on a play that I slid on. He said that should speak for itself. Yes, he slides. He gets hit in the head. They don't call a penalty, but they make him come out of the game later because he got hit in the head. It's a penalty.
100%.
I mean, what are we doing here? It's how could this possibly still be a thing? Every single week. Every single week.
I agree.
We're just
sorry. We're efforting things.
We're trying to get Woot set up
we're
here.
We're efforting Woot, who's trying to join us.
But,
I apologize.
And we'll have Corey in a second here.
Okay.
Is the hope.
You both need to be doing that?
Well, he has.
We
were trying to do something quiet for once.
Yeah.
And Adam was flabbergasted by the mere notion we did anything quiet.
Yes.
Also, the same link it's been literally.
There's 2 of them apparently, because I just sent him the other one.
Oh, you put him on the Blackhawk show?
I don't know what I did.
I think you put Wood on the Blackhawk show.
I might have put.
Wood dialed in, talking Connor Bedard.
Connor Bedard.
2024.
We can't have nice things.
Great start.
We can't have nice
Great
things.
start.
Yeah.
2024.
I'm doing. Yeah. Okay.
So, was that your second thing or was that your third thing?
That was my second thing, but that was all
You
I
didn't
had.
have a third thing?
No.
Okay.
I did.
Sorry.
There he is.
The Bears will have a last place schedule.
I'm scared for I'm scared for what's about to happen.
But let's think about that. Hey, Jim, we have a last place schedule. We have Justin Fields. We have the 1st overall pick. We have the 9th overall pick. We've got an improving defense. We have the city of Chicago. We've got the amazing lakefront. We've got Ryan Poles. We've got Kevin Warren. We've got Virginia McCaskey. We haven't won the Super Bowl since 1985. You can be the hero of all heroes. What about this do you not like? I don't see anything that. I mean, there is a.
Carm, you don't have to convince Jim. You have to convince George and Kevin and Ryan.
Okay, George.
You're convincing the wrong person.
All right, let me convince George.
Jim Harbaugh would come here. He'd fly direct after the game tomorrow night.
All right, fine.
If you give him the right amount of money, there's no convincing.
All right, how about this? I'll do that one. Hey, George. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Ryan. You have a dude out there who is proven, who could put the long drought to rest. Virginia just turned 101 years old. Wouldn't you like to set her out in style before she waves goodbye to all of us down here? Wouldn't you like Corey Wooten, the former Bear, to smile ear to ear with glee that we have gotten over the top and have won the Super Bowl? This guy's sitting right there. Woot's shaking his head no. Are you? As we bring Corey Wooten into the show here. Woot, I'm trying to get the Bears a Super Bowl. Get the monkey off the back. What am I doing something wrong? Yeah, we can't hear him.
Uh-oh. Hold on. You're muted, Woot. You're muted. I've got you on my end.
We'll get you, Woot.
Oh, I believe in you, Woot.
I don't know.
No.
Not this problem.
Can't bully me when you're muted, can you, Woot?
Yeah. I'll tell you what. We're gonna hit a big super chat. Maybe call back.
Call back.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Hold on. I'm gonna leave you out here. We got a hell of a super chat.
Law, wasn't there a fix for this earlier in the season when this was happening? Doesn't Steven know it?
Yeah, I don't know why that would have happened though now because it's not the thing where that was happening to us. No, but the Duke has chimed in.
$500 super chat.
Wow.
From the Duke. He says, Welp, pick 1, pick 9. Going to be an interesting offseason. Poles and Warren need to clean house. Clean out anything touched by Ted and George. Just want to say thank you, CHGO Bears. Great stuff this season. I love you guys. You mean more to me than you know. I don't have many friends, and I know we've never met, but I count you goofballs among them.
We know you have friends, Duke, but we are certainly friends to you. I always say I would love to shake your hand one day, but it's almost more fun with this anonymous guy that comes into our chat. Everybody thinks he's some plant, CHGO plant. He's not. We appreciate your dedication to the show and loyalty to us, and we're just trying to have fun with this, and hopefully this time next year we're talking about a playoff berth and not a off-season agenda.
Duke, as we wrap up this portion of our season, of course, our season never ends here at CHGO, but from yours truly at the Carve Deep with Art, I greatly appreciate the support you provide to us. So it's always great when you pop up. And so thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And I don't have a lot of friends either, so I need friends. So please, call me.
You guys
Thank
are
you,
made
Duke.
for each other.
Yeah.
Thank you, Duke. That's a huge super chat. We really appreciate it. All right, let's try Corey Wooten again here.
Woot. Oh, no. He's still. It's definitely on your end, Woot. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I could have you
You think it's on
talk
his
to
end?
Steven. Hold on. That's a good idea. I'm going to have you call. We'll do this off air. I want you to call the other link, please. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Wait
we just
a minute.
heard him. We just heard him.
Wait a minute, Woot. What the hell?
Wait, take him back off the screen. Try to
That's
have him talk to you.
insanity. All right, let's take him off the screen. This is ridiculous.
Now
Talk
say
Woot.
say something, Woot.
Nope.
No.
No,
That was
weird.
weird.
I heard him for half a second.
That was a great hit.
I don't know. All right. This is all Carman's
Don't worry
fault.
about it. There's only 5,000 people watching.
You started it.
I did.
Yeah, this is your fault.
This is all your fault.
It's always ultimately on me. I think that's fair. I'm not going to run from it.
It's good effort. It just didn't work. All right,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
It'll
all right,
happen.
in the meantime,
Yes. In the meantime, okay. Excellent thinking, Adam. In the meantime, I want to tell you about something that is very important to me. For real. You want to be in a good headspace in life, and we want to help you do that. And we want to help you do that with better help. So, look, New Year's coming into the new season, we can get a little obsessed on how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we're doing right. Or, look, you might be looking to other ways to make yourself feel good other than just leaning into your feelings and your thoughts and ways in which you can just take yourself to levels that, quite frankly, you didn't even know you could get to. Therapy can help you find your strengths, and you can also ditch some of the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. Lord knows I've got about 17 New Year's resolutions that I've already not done, so that's unfortunate for me. But hey, if you've benefited from therapy like I have, I mean, I can give you a million different ways in which I have seen possibilities for myself doing work on myself that I never would have had. So we want to help you get there, and BetterHelp wants to do that. So this is what you want to do. You want to visit BetterHelp.com/CHGO. Go there today. Get 10% off your first month. It's BetterHelp.com/CHGO. And look, it is courageous to work on yourself. You will have, for me at least, obviously you're not going to tell me about it, but if you did, I would give you the utmost respect in going down that road, because anybody who does it, you come out on the other side and you are proud of yourself and you have more confidence. You end up having, if you have a direction on it, you want to make more money, you want to have a better relationship with your wife, your friends, your kids, whoever, co-workers. If you pick a direction, you are going to be on your way, and BetterHelp is a great place to do it. Again, it's BetterHelp.com/CHGO, 10% off on your first month. So, hey, one session a week, that's 10% off on 4, 2, 8. I mean, a lot of value right there. Check them out, BetterHelp.com.
That's right. And I want to tell you guys about FOCO. Make sure you use the code CHGO10 on all non-presale items. Get fitted out in the best sports gear around: hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Baseball season, basketball season, football season, hockey, soccer, doesn't matter. They've got it all. Shirts, hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. Decorations like you see on our set here behind us. Got the Justin Fields one on the table. FOCO has donated a few awesome pieces for our set. They've showed us some love, so make sure you go show them some love. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below. Again, for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO10 for 10% off.
All right.
Couple things coming out of the locker room I want to get to. You guys may have heard of this guy. His name is Adam Johns. Questionable reporter from The Athletic.
Marginal talent. Never done anything in this business.
Yep. In all seriousness, Johnsy's the best, and he's at Lambeau right now, and he tweeted, Matt Eberflus says he plans to host exit interviews with Bears players tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. What time is your schedule for, Braggs?
Mine?
You got a Flus interview tomorrow?
He didn't give me one. I think we're still efforting a nickname.
Your exit interview with us is at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow. Okay. You better be nervous.
Good. Get it in before the Flus exit interview.
7 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. Flus said he and general manager Ryan Poles do them together. They're essentially in 10-minute blocks. Flus says he expects to meet with ownership later in the week, but it has not been scheduled yet. So take that for what it's worth. In terms of announced immediate availability, the only thing we know for tomorrow, because I know fans are wondering about an end-of-season press conference, as far as we know, there is not one tomorrow. The only thing on the books tomorrow is open locker room, 10:15 in the morning. Players are going to be leaving, come in and out of the building. They're allowed to go and never come back until they have to be back in April. So that's all we know at this point. Now, last year, and this is a little different from last year, because last year they had press conferences on Tuesday, but we were told about that on Sunday. Like the release that went out said exit interviews, open locker room Monday, press conference Tuesday. This time, the only thing that's on there is open locker room tomorrow. So take that for what it's worth. It may mean nothing, or it means they're going to take 48 hours here to evaluate things. Remember the year they decided to keep Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace for an extra year? There was a 48-hour period there where everybody was in limbo. And then they came back with that amazing press conference that happened.
Collaboration.
Just feels like the old wheels are spinning at good old Hallis Hall right now, or Kevin Warren's downtown office, or up in Green Bay. I'll be let me be on record this. I will be shocked if there isn't at least one change, if not multiple, of the top three. I will be straight stunned, because if there literally was no changes on some level, I'd be like, wow, that is one enormous bet you are making.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Is it the same link or no?
It can't be.
Oh, okay. So we apologize if I think we lost everybody there.
Is it the same link, boys?
Yep. Okay, so I think we're back here, though, and I don't know if everybody had to re-click back in. We apologize for the technical difficulties. I think we broke YouTube. This show's been so big and so successful tonight that we broke YouTube.
I think
either that or the Bears' offense broke YouTube. One of the two of those, something happened there.
This is absolutely what should have happened today because of everything that happened with the Bears up there. So we're just rolling through. Don't worry about it. We're good. Bears are good. Super Bowl 2024. Maybe even Corey Wooten will be good too. Let's there's
try Woot again here.
Might as well try that right now.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
yes!
All right, we're back.
We're doing it.
Fully back. Everything's back. Now we're doing it. Woot, good to see you.
Great to see you guys too. Well, not under the circumstances, but I do have to comment on something I saw from the biggest flip flopper. And we're not even in Hawaii. Greg Braggs, can I just ask you, what in the world did any of you guys think that Justin Fields did in this game that he could have done differently?
All right.
I'm just curious.
All right,
Especially
you're coming in hot.
Oh yeah, I'm coming in hot.
You're coming in hot, and you're upset because I put on Twitter with the first pick, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams. But that's not because I said Justin Fields is to blame for today's game. It's simply what I think that Ryan Poles is going to do going forward. I've been leaning that way for the better half of the second half of the year. I completely understand the offensive line had a complete meltdown today. They had injuries. Luke Getsy reverting back to essentially the same game plan they ran week 1 against the Packers. And so, no, I don't lay everything at Justin Fields' feet for the abysmal performance by everyone today. But at the end of the day, like we talked about earlier here on the show, I think it's time for a change at head coach. I think there's an opportunity in front of them to get Jim Harbaugh, and they should go for that. Do I think they will? No, I think they'll run it back with Eberflus. If it was me, I'd get Jim Harbaugh. And now when you talk about the quarterback, what I would do, I'd draft Caleb Williams at this point. And there's some different reasons for that. It doesn't just have to do with today. And what do I think Ryan Poles is going to do? I think he's going to draft Caleb Williams.
Can I tell you, you said it wouldn't be just because of today. I guarantee you, if the offense of Justin Fields lit it up and threw for 350 yards, you'd be on Twitter right now saying Justin Fields is our guy going forward. I guarantee you that, Bragg. I promise you.
I want to ask you, though, your thoughts on all this. Okay, so first of all, regardless of who the quarterback is, what do you do with the offensive, just the offense? Are you running it back with Luke Getsy after everything we've seen?
No. I think even if they played a great game today, I think he had to go. I just didn't feel confident with his game plans throughout this year. Think about this, right? First game of the season, Packers, it was what it was. You had all these weeks of better game planning, more consistent offensive play, and then you have a chance to redeem yourself against your old team. And this is the play calling that he had, right? Especially early on when they knew they couldn't handle them up front, right? Where were the quick passing? Where was creative play calling? We didn't see any of that. He got out-coached in every sense of the word today. They got outplayed, out-coached. I think Luke Getsy had to go for me, even if they had a great performance today. I think he's just too inconsistent of a play caller.
So, with that being said, you're okay with Justin Fields having to go down the road of his third offensive coordinator going into year 4, which may or may not be the last year he's under contract, depending on if they pick up the 5th-year option. You're fine with that?
Yes, I feel like he is too talented to let go. The team is behind him. And I always said, when you have the chemistry of a team the way it is, guys are playing well. And I know defensively they didn't play well in this game. But I just think they're going up defensively, right? This team was playing well up until this game. I feel like it'd be hard to break it up, especially him and DJ Moore on the same page. I've always just thought if you add one more weapon offensively, you add a wide receiver, I think Justin Fields did this offense with a great play caller. I think the sky is the limit for them. So I just think you build around him and this team, and I think they could be in a pretty good situation next year. And then now you got to make a decision on what you're going to do going forward with Getsy, Eberflus, going forward.
You played at a time with the Bears where quarterback chemistry mattered a lot. Can you give us an idea of what kind of effect the chemistry, the buy-in with the quarterback can have on a defense? Because that would obviously be the risk here of moving on from Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think especially when you talk to the guys after the game or just during the week, they seem to all have his back. And it is a hard thing. I always bring up that example back in 2012 when we had a top 5 defense. And basically we kept the same defense, tried to keep the same scheme. We got rid of Lovey, Marinelli, that whole staff, went from top 5 to dead last in every category. So coaching matters, chemistry matters, the way you run things. And it's just – there's so much uncertainty with the Bears. That's why I said it'd be interesting to see what they do as far as head coach. I think they had been leaning towards keeping Eberflus. I think we could all agree with that, right? How they've been playing defensively and all that. I think for me, it's always been Luke Getsy was on the chopping block for me. Eberflus, the way he had this defense playing, was pretty lights out up until today. And, I mean, even in this game to let up, 17 points? I mean, still defensively, they played a pretty solid game. I mean, I know it wasn't their best performance, but to hold them to only 17 points in this game, I think it's still a pretty good thing. I just think the offensive plan was so abysmal. And Braggs, we talked about this in our remember how you said, Green Bay's defense is 30th or 31st. And what did I tell you? I said, you got to watch out for this front 4. I said, this game is going to be determined on how we play against their front 4. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith. I said, Kenny Clark's playing at a Pro Bowl level.
Yep.
And they beat the brakes of them off front. They bent them over and they smacked that ass. That's what they did in this game.
Yeah,
And
Tevin Jenkins probably his worst performance of the year, as Mark was pointing out earlier.
What was the most disappointing part of today for you?
I think it was the offensive line, because we saw so much improvement from them all season, and they got absolutely whooped. Like there were a couple of those sacks where Justin Fields literally turned around to set his foot. They were on him. So it's such a tough situation, because I think Justin has all the talent in the world. There's things that he can do is unbelievable. I just think he's shown so much so much improvement in certain areas. And I know people say, well, the stats really don't line up with that. But watching the tape, watching him, we can all agree that he's improved as a passer, right? He throws some dimes out there. There's some things he's got to clean up, but I think the talent is there. I think you build around him, and it would be a shame, in my opinion, to let him go. I think you build around him.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but the one thing that does frustrate me watching Justin, because you mentioned the lack of quick game and quick options when it was very obvious tonight that they weren't going to be able to block up front. I don't think Justin does that well. I think he's way too methodical. And it's not just getting rid of the ball. It's everything, like his footwork, his drop back. For a guy who's that fast and that athletic, I don't understand why it's so slow when you see other quarterbacks that are just boom, boom, out. Boom, boom, out. And by the way, that's one of the things Caleb Williams does best. And I don't have an answer for it. I just think at this point, 3 years in, that's just who he is, and you're going to have to scheme around it. And I'm not trying to defend Luke Getsy for anything because the plan's obviously not good enough. But I just feel like that's a big reason why they don't just like, oh, let's just go to the quick game. Like, it's just not that simple with him, in my opinion.
Well, if you look at the first game when they played the Packers, I think the quick game for Chicago was there. In the first half of that first opening game, Justin Fields looked really good in the first half with the quick game, quick step, 1, 2, 3, get the ball out, rhythm and timing throws. And over the course of the game, it's hard to get in the rhythm of stuff when you're getting constantly hit, getting the ball tipped in this and some bad play calling here and there. So I think at times, like especially last week, I thought he was really efficient with his quick game. Right? I thought he was really good about getting the ball out. I think you look at today. There was press coverage, a lot of man-to-man, right? Not a lot of receivers were open. So, when you talk about Justin Fields holding the ball, I thought he got the ball out pretty quickly. I thought there was maybe one that he held a little bit too long, but I thought for the most part, most of that wasn't his fault. If receivers aren't open and they're not blocking, that's tough sledding right there.
He had a couple balls I thought a couple guys over the middle where he could have gotten rid of it that he didn't. And when you look at what people around the league are saying is over the middle, he's hesitant to let it go. But look, if your right guard and your left guard and your center are all having a rough day, I get it. It's gonna be a very tough time for any quarterback to be successful. Where are you at with the head coach here, Woot?
Man, that's a tough one. I think the way that they played defensively, with the exception of this game, I know Love had a pretty good game, but I think I could see them potentially keeping Eberflus, right? And I wouldn't have the biggest problem with that, depending on who they picked as the offensive coordinator. So that kind of being like, if they picked a good offensive coordinator with Eberflus here, keeping the way the defense has played for the most part this season, I would be okay with that. But if they kept Luke Getsy as well, I'm not cool with that at all.
How hard do you think it would be for that locker room to move forward if they got rid of the head coach?
I think it would be. I think it'd be tough, But if they got a guy like a Harbaugh, they got a legit guy, I think they would rally behind that. I think it all depends on if they go another direction, who that coach is.
Yeah, see, Wooten, you were there when this happened. I don't think it's – I do think I would rank this second to when Lovie Smith got fired in terms of coaches that have been let go here and the impact it would have on the locker room, because I don't think there was much – no one blinked an eye when John Fox got let go or Matt Nagy got let go, and especially when Mark Trestman got let go. But when Lovey got let go, I'll never forget being in that locker room that morning. Devin Hester's crying. Everybody's legitimately upset. And that all Trestman's faults. I think it would have been even hard for Bruce Arians to come in there and gather everybody back together and get all the buy-in, because that's how much you guys played hard for Lovey. I think there is an aspect of that right now, especially on the defensive ball. And I think there's proof in the pudding to how these guys bounced back this year with all the diversity that they were fighting early in the year. But I don't know if that buy-in is to the point that everybody's going to go, oh no, F this. I'm not going to accept. No, doesn't matter who's coming in. I'm out. That was my guy. Flus was my guy. I don't think it's to that level.
I don't think so. Because I think Lovey built up. He was there for such a long time, right? And he built this defense to such a force in this league. And guys really loved him. Lovey would do anything for you. Guys would want to run through a brick wall for him, Marinelli. I think guys really like Eberflus, but I don't think it's the same thing. So I think guys would be more angry, I think, if they moved on from Justin Fields than Eberflus.
That's where I was just trying to follow with Adam. Like, do you think that there would be, I don't know about a mutiny, but just a locker room that you would really have a tough time bringing back if they got rid of the quarterback?
I think stuff is always salvageable, but I think it would be more tough losing Justin Fields with just the way the guys have rallied around him, how they've spoke about him. And I think that's very telling. I know people have been really on the fence with Justin Fields. My only thing is like this. I bring up the example all the time about Tua, what he was able to do. They were ready to toss him to the side, and look at him now. The difference was another weapon offensively and a play caller. So Justin Fields has all the talent in the world. There's a bunch of teams that want him right now. So my only thing is like this. If you get him the right offensive coordinator and another weapon at receiver, we clean up some of these offensive line, why would he not flourish?
Yeah, you made the statement earlier, it would be a shame if the Bears got rid of Justin Fields, and I agree. As much as I'm sitting here saying I think the Bears are going to draft Caleb Williams, and I do believe that, I'd be willing to bet good money on that. I was wagering Hoge good money on that.
Yeah, somehow he went from Monday.
Well, Woot scares me, all right?
No. This is – no. Woot.
He bullied me.
Woot got it out of you, Fields, and then by halftime tonight, Woot, he's trying to bet me $500 that they're going to draft Caleb Williams.
So this is
he's a flip-flopper.
I'm flip-flopping.
You go to Hawaii,
it's hard, man. I've always said this is a hard decision, but at the end of the day, what I was going to say to you is it will be a shame if this is the end of Justin Fields' career as a Bear, because it should have worked out differently. This year could have gone differently, and they could have been riding into the playoffs right now, and they could have been using that number one pick to get a team that was on the playoff brink better. But just with the way things have laid out, to me, it's time, circumstance, and economics that are going to play a part in this decision. And it is a shame that it hasn't worked out for Justin Fields here. And it's not all his fault. The Bears did him no favors from the moment they drafted him to sticking him with the lame duck head coach, and then to be in a rebuild, tear it all down year last year. And this year's had its ups and downs with a lot of different things going on behind the scenes at Hallis Hall. So I don't place it all on Justin Fields, but at the end of the day, I just think they're going to have a hard decision to make, and I think Ryan Poles is going to make it.
Can I ask you guys one question real quick, right? If the Bears were coming into this game at 10-6 with a playoff berth and a chance to win 11 games, will we be even having this conversation?
It'd be a lot harder to have it, that's for damn sure.
But I'm just saying, like, even if Justin Fields there were the ups and downs of the season like we've seen, will we be even having this conversation?
Maybe. I throw only because they have the number one pick. Listen. If they didn't have the number one pick, this wouldn't be a discussion.
I mean, when the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes, and that's where Ryan Poles. I don't compare Caleb Williams to Patrick Mahomes, but I do compare where Ryan Poles came from, and that's the Kansas City front office. I think Kansas City won 12 games the year they drafted Patrick Mahomes. So this is a different circumstance. Justin's a younger player than Alex Smith, but at the end of the day, I think Ryan Poles has been a part of a front office that took a quarterback even when their team was successful and in the playoffs.
So one last thing. So Braggs, you know how I've been big on Justin Fields the whole time, right?
You've been terrifying me, yes.
What have we seen across the board from all of the media, right? From ESPN, NFL Network, to all these analysts. After one game, they saw from the Falcons. we saw a complete 180, and right? Did we not see that? It's very interesting now that everyone's saying Justin Fields is so talented. You need to continue to build around him, right? Something I've been saying all year, but now after this game, and I guarantee you, if Justin Fields and this offense lit it up today, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. They'd say, I think everybody would say, well, we're going forward. Justin is our guy. We feel confident with him. And it's crazy how one game sometimes can make or break people's opinions on somebody. especially since it's the last game of the season, right?
I just think it speaks to how tough the decision is. Like, people really just want to draw hard lines in the sand. Will Brooks here in the chat giving me some shit. That's fine. I get it. And I just think it speaks to how tough of a decision it is. And I've always kind of chuckled at people sitting on either side of this debate and being hardlined with it. It's not an easy decision, but at the end of the day, Ryan Poles is going to have to make one or the other. And I just think he's going to go with the other.
Woot, one question. How, in your mind, did today happen? This was supposed to. Yeah, how does this happen? You're coming in. You got all the momentum. You're going to knock the Packers out of the playoffs. The Bears are riding high, and then you just lay a complete egg. And maybe we could just point to the offensive line and not setting up the whole thing, but I'm having a hard time understanding how this happened today.
I think the trenches on both sides of the ball, offensive, defensive. And that's why I'm very big on building up this defensive line, using the picks for other things rather than the quarterback, because defense wins championships. Arguably the best team right now in football, San Francisco. We can all agree with that, right? They have a great defensive line. They have waves of guys. Why do you think Philly is not playing as well as they did last year? Because their defensive line isn't as good. They're not getting the consistent pressure that they got last year, right? They're missing Hargrave. They're missing some other pieces. Sweat isn't as productive this year. That's why I'm huge on continue building this pick. We don't need to use a quarterback. You build around this team with the lines. And I think another weapon at receiver. That's why I'm so big on that. Because you look at all the times, who beat Tom Brady 2 years, 07 and 11? The defensive line of the New York Giants. That's how you win championships, right? Von Miller single-handedly took out Cam Newton in them. The Legion of Boom, Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett destroyed Peyton Manning. Defense wins championships, right? You have to have an offense that's productive and can make plays. But I think Justin Fields and his offense showed that they can do that. It's been inconsistency in the play calling, weapons at times, Darnell Mooney dropping balls, Tyler Scott. I think they're close. And last week, the way they were playing, they are a playoff team. So my thing is, if you continue building around that team, if we started the season 5 weeks ago, guarantee you this Bears team would be a playoff team this year, right? We can't start the season over. But the way they were playing, they were a playoff caliber team, the way they've been playing this half of the season. That's my only thing is you build around them and you continue to get better.
Woot, first of all, it's great having you on tonight. Wish we could have done it more throughout the season. So thank you for jumping on with us tonight. Miss talking to you as much as we did last year. I know Braggs, you get stuck with Braggs every week. So
makes it even.
And I know how lucky
for that part. For that part, we apologize.
It's triply painful.
Yeah.
You ain't punking me out tomorrow, Corey.
No.
Here we go. You act all big with Carman Hoge there, but tomorrow you're like, yeah, I know, man. I know. It's like the Notebook. Hey, hun, what should we do? What, you're going to change your mind tomorrow.
I'll ask my brick.
I love the Notebook reference. I did love the Notebook reference. Yeah. I think we're going to jump on tomorrow night, too.
Yeah.
No, hey, let's do it.
Hey, Brick, what should we do at quarterback here coming up?
Look at him.
Brick's saying Caleb too. I'm sorry,
dude. Your sweatpants on your shin region, bro. They're screaming. They're crying, bro. What are those yoga pants? Come on, bro.
No, see, you're mad. Look, you're mad at the Bears. You're not mad at me. All right, don't take this out on the wardrobe. All right,
but it's too tight everywhere, which is mortifying. We got Speedo Man here in his leggings.
Hey, that's why he can't think clearly. He's cutting off the circulation. You know what I'm saying?
hey, Wood, I'm going to quibble with you on the way out the door here. What's the Bears' best win this year?
The best win, I'll probably say the Commanders. So I think that's where they played the most consistent football. That was a good game, offensively, defensively, all around.
All right. Washington stinks.
How about the Lions at home?
But I would say maybe the Falcons. The Falcons were a pretty
Washington,
good
Lions, or Falcons.
Okay,
I'd probably say Falcons because that was their most complete game, and there was a lot on the line in that moment.
I'm not quibbling with you. I'm quibbling with
Oh, yeah, you're quibbling with
I'm quibbling with
wet conditions.
Atlanta lost by 800 points today. Their season's dead. The way I'm looking at it, they have one good win. They beat Detroit at home. They killed them. That was impressive. They after
should have beat Detroit.
Should have beat him the other time. Didn't beat him. Came back and got him. I don't know if how you Ryan Poles. You could look at this. You beat the Vikings with nothing. You snuck by the Cardinals and the Panthers. I don't know, man.
That's why tonight was the opportunity to really make your mark, get your win over the Packers, knock them out of the playoffs, look good doing it, and it was a complete failure. Yeah. What it was?
The opportunity to be like Detroit last year.
Yeah.
And they just nothing.
All right.
That was brutal.
Corey, we'll talk to you tomorrow night, okay?
Sounds good, fellas.
Appreciate it. Corey Wooten jumping in. Follow him on Twitter at Corey Wooten.
I ain't afraid of Woot.
Got to give another shout out here.
You are afraid of Woot, and you should be afraid of Woot, and you should apologize for saying that right now because I
didn't wait till he was off the screen for you to say that.
I'll tell him again tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, I think he could hear me.
Oh, yeah, he heard you.
He could hear you.
He heard you. He heard you. Hey, we ate well tonight, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we did.
We definitely ate well tonight. Shout out to Mark Stafford, who came over. He runs Smoke Staff out of Edison Park. Dude.
Unbelievable.
I mean.
I had 3 plates.
That's true. We watched all 3 plates go down. It was more entertaining than the Bears' third quarter offense.
That's what I did the whole third quarter.
The whole third quarter. You ate more plates than the Bears attempted passes.
Well, he made
3.
more passes at the spread than
they actually threw.
I mean, I made
Here's the thing. I had 1 plate. I also had more plates than the Bears threw passes in the third quarter. But Smokestaff, follow them on Twitter at Smokestaff. It's spelled SMOQUE for barbecue. Smokestaff. SMOQUESTAFF. Follow them on Instagram. That's an Instagram symbol. I should know that. That's Instagram. Anyway, Instagram is a great place to go. And legitimately, that brisket and the sauces.
Yeah,
he makes his own sauces. The Carolina mustard sauce. If that was here right now, I might just drink it.
They made handcrafted, personalized brisket meatballs for me.
Just for you, the meatball.
Pork meatballs.
Pork?
I think so. I don't think they were.
Regardless, they were delicious.
They were Bragg's meatballs. Is what
they were.
And he said, I brought these in. I made them just
specifically
for the meatball.
And they were delicious. I mean, it was a home run. We've had some good lunch, good game day food here, but that one topped it all here to end the season.
That was an impressive performance. Thank you to Mark. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to Smokestaff. If you're having a party, dial them up, hook it up. You'll be very, very, very,
that's
very
what
happy
they do, by the way. They travel to different events and things like that. So smokestaff1@gmail.com, smokestaff.com, and on Instagram at smokestaff.
Hit them up.
$20 super chat from Frank Bentley.
There's a lot of super chats.
I forgot there's another piece of business we got to get to as well. JF1 is 10-27 as the QB. He's inconsistent as a playmaker. He's great, but you can't make a living being a playmaker every week. Availability and consistency are key. He has demonstrated, assuming it's supposed to be neither. So would you pay him 4 years, $200 million? I would not pay him 4 years. 4 years, $200 million.
Well, look, that's the
50 a year.
It's the cost of poker there, Hoger.
I don't think he's going to stay healthy enough. I just really don't, and especially if the refs let the players hit him the way they do.
So, I mean, are you paying him $40 a year? Are you paying him $35 a year?
You only have to pick up his fifth-year option, I think, at this point.
Are you picking up his fifth-year option?
That's the move. But you would eventually, if you're keeping him, it's with the idea that you are eventually giving him a 4-year deal.
And if you're not getting Caleb Williams in 2 years. Like now that's the problem, man. You don't get you get the number 1 pick 3 years from now.
Right.
You get it now.
Right.
Look, Ryan Poles is either going to be the greatest GM in the history of the world, or he is going to be the biggest moron that's ever walked. He is in a very challenging spot. But I also would say that you could also make the argument that, and which I did earlier in this week, that there really is no wrong decision. Like right. I think they will be better next year with Justin, with an improving defense, with an additional playmaker. Logically, how
playmakers plural,
right? Logically, they're going to get better.
Right.
The question is, do you want to swing big? Do you want to swing for the home run? And if you're wrong, then you're done capping it. But the other side of it is Justin hasn't thrown for 3,000 yards. C.J. Stroud threw for 4,000 this year. Do we really think that the guy who many people think is a generational talent is going to come in here next year and not throw for 3,000? I'd bet that he would. I bet that he'd throw. I'd be confident that he's going to put up numbers.
Dr. Truth here is asking us to apologize to Carman because Derek Carr was 22 of 28 today with 4 touchdowns and a 106+ quarterback rating each of the last 4 weeks. Carm equals genius.
I figured we were going to wait to sing Carm's genius praises for the end of the show.
I am willing to do this, but Carm needs to pay up on his bet. So I want you to get up.
Okay.
We're going to explain the bet. You need to go behind the chair here so that people can actually see what you're doing.
What is happening?
No, you don't have to adjust anything. I'm going to make him stand back there so we can see him. Stand between Braggs and that chair. Don't stand behind the chair. Stand over.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. We don't need to see your stupid head.
Okay. What's happening?
So Carm and I had a bet in the middle of the game that when Matt LaFleur challenged that catch, that he said it was going to be overturned into a touchdown, or I guess it was ruled a touchdown, whatever. He thought it was going to be a touchdown. And the bet was whoever loses has to do the tree yoga position, the standing tree, for 10 seconds.
It looks like the crane from Karate Kid.
Okay? For 10 seconds. 1, 1,000. 2, 1,000. 3, 1,000. 4, 1,000. 5, 1,000. 6, 1,000. 7, 1,000. 8, 1,000. 9, 1,000. 10. Show off. Okay. Good job. I guess.
Go do that.
He said go do that.
Go do that. I made it look easy.
That was impressive. Should have done 20.
I don't understand how that play did not get overturned.
You don't understand that by the time he controlled the football, he was way out of bounds? It was the most black and white obvious call ever.
I don't even remember the play right now to even run through my head. I'm so irritated by the whole.
I think we actually are thinking about different plays.
That's not the play. The play was in the middle of the field. The ball was.
What was
rolling.
the one LaFleur challenged?
DJ Moore
didn't
catch it.
It never hit the ground.
It hit the ground.
No, it didn't.
He
bobbled it, but it never touched the ground.
It hit the ground.
J-Dog in the chat. And we've gone off the rails.
No, this is normal.
That's not yet. Wait till we get.
This is on the rails for us.
Yeah, wait till we get to the super chats.
If we're gonna start celebrating everything that I've said, right?
Oh boy,
we're gonna go to Nick.
This for the end of the show.
No, yeah, we're gonna get there, but we're gonna go to Nick now.
Look at how he's just itching for his victory lap.
I want to take a victory lap.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep coming up with other things to talk about. So look
at Fishbane's there too. This is
Fishbane,
the Fishman.
People have been calling for Fishman all season. He comes through at Lambeau Field. He did Cats. Yeah, the Cats are winning by a lot right now.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're up by like 15 on Michigan
Tell them
State.
Boiler up.
Cats are up by 15. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I don't know why we're scheduling Northwestern basketball games during Sunday Night Football in Week 18. I don't know why the FCS championship game's in the middle of NFL football on a Sunday.
Oh, my God, I was so mad.
What the hell's that all about? Why was it not yesterday?
Who won?
I assume South Dakota State.
My nephew's a Montana kid. So.
Northwestern hired their offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Right after the game was over. So there you go. Nick, can you help us? I mean, what the hell was that?
Nick, you better have some serious reports out of that locker room. I want to know what's going on in there.
We haven't had a chance to play DJ Moore. What did he say?
Okay, yeah, let's scroll because honestly, from my vantage point, it was even tough for me to hear. But I went back and listened to it. He was asked first of all on the disappointment. You had all this momentum going into this game, then you have that performance, don't score a touchdown. He said, "Of course, it sucks. It would have been great to knock out this team from getting into the playoffs, and that's the scenario that the Packers were in. Couldn't do that." He was asked about the challenges on offense, and he just credited the Green Bay Packers. Said they had their number today, and he said we weren't really dialed in. That's interesting for a team that literally has – this is your last game. The only reason you're playing is to knock out this team. He felt like the offense wasn't really dialed in. He also said after he was asked about the fumble that Tyreek Stevenson caused, and he was just asked about his thoughts about if like that was a big momentum, a lack of – he was asked, like, could you have built on that play? And he thought we should have taken a shot on that very next play. Justin Fields, I think, scrambled for 3 yards on the play. Can't remember exactly what they dialed up, But DJ was like, we should have taken a shot on that play just to show the Packers that we're still in this thing. Obviously, that did not happen. He was also asked what needs to change on offense moving forward. Obviously, not scoring any touchdowns. And he really highlighted, was asked a couple of questions about this, you guys. He highlighted the explosive plays in the games. He wants to go back and look at the games that they won, look at those explosive plays, look at the ones that they lost, look at those or lack of explosive plays. So that's what he was asked about when needed to change something on offense. He was also asked, was his offense too conservative? And he said, no, that's not really the case, but he just wants to be able to surprise teams again, going back to those explosive plays. And then here's he was asked about a question about Luke Getsy, do you need a new offensive coordinator? And immediately as the question's coming out, he rolls his eyes. I think it was Mark Potash that asked him the question, rolls his eyes, and he called it fine, meaning the offensive coordinator. He also said he had the right players and just really the players need to be explosive, need to have those, again, going back to explosive plays. But he also said it doesn't really matter who's calling plays. Essentially, the guys just need to execute. So that's what he was kind of saying about Luke Getsy. He was also asked about the hit on Justin Fields. And DJ said he didn't even see it because I think he was on the opposite side of the field where it happened. But he said if he did, it would have been a way bigger issue. He would have gotten into things. He was too focused on what his assignment was, but he didn't actually see the play. And then he was asked if he had seen the replay. He had not seen that either. So that's kind of what DJ Moore had to say after the locker room, you guys.
All right, let's go over to the Flus. Did he seem like a remorseful Flus, a confident Flus? How would you describe his press conference?
He was, I wouldn't say he was like I guess a down Flus, if we wanted to categorize it that way. I think he was disappointed, obviously, with the result. But he started off his press conference kind of crediting the players for the development of the football team and themselves, liked how the team finished 5-3, doubled up on wins, he said. He really liked the chemistry of the group, said that was really good. And he said it's two sides of the coin, disappointment, but also the brotherhood that, this team has established with, some more wins as of late. He was asked about his futures, you guys, and he said he welcomes those meetings. And tomorrow, so here's what tomorrow is going to look like for the Chicago Bears. A lot of exit interviews with the players, sit in Eberflus's office with Ryan Poles, 10 minutes apiece for these interviews. Going to start at 7 a.m., go to 4 p.m., and give feedback literally on everything. So, but that's going to be the focus of tomorrow. And then later in the week, he, again, welcomes those interviews, those, obviously going to be tough discussions with upper management, but he does welcome them back. And he was asked, is there expectation for you to be back? And similar to what Eberflus said about the word expectation that goes into the future, he said he's going to stay right here in the present. Later in the week, again, look for ownership and everyone else to have those, those tough meetings. He was also asked if you feel good, though, about those meetings. Do you feel good about those meetings that are going to happen in the future? He says he does know that the foundation and standard of how we operate things as the Chicago Bears have been set. He knows the locker room and knows the locker room consists of people that are hardworking and passionate for the game. So I think Eberflus is looking forward to these tough conversations that are going to be had, but he didn't seem honestly too down, even though, this whole entire game was a big disappointment, especially his defense that really didn't show up much in this game.
Nick, after the Falcons game, obviously with the fans chanting, "We want Fields," the players came to the locker room, very defiant, standing up for their quarterback. I mean, these are some of the last times you guys are going to get to speak to the players in the locker room, obviously tomorrow as well. But how much sentiment from that, did that carry over, that kind of energy from his teammates to continue to support their belief that Justin Fields should be the quarterback next season?
Yeah, I would say it definitely has, Greg. And, I got a chance to talk to Tyler Scott and asked him, if Justin, should he still be the leader of this football team moving forward? He said, essentially, absolutely. Just look at the plays that he made and look at how the team handled themselves as of late. So Tyler Scott definitely believes in that. And, Justin Fields' locker was kind of in a walkway for a bunch of people. So people had to pass by his locker to get out of the locker room. And literally every single player that walked by, whether they were, maybe just hitting the showers or exiting were all just dabbing him up, kind of talking little things and saying, hey, looking forward to next year and things like that. So there's still that belief in Justin Fields, especially from the player's perspective of what he's capable of doing. And so that love that he has, that appreciation for what he does on the football team, but also how he presents himself, I think that's definitely still there, Greg. So it was there even after a tough loss. And yeah, Justin Fields didn't put up the great numbers that you ideally probably would have liked to see in potentially his last game. But, I don't even think I need to go back and watch the All-22 to know that there were some limitations, especially with this offensive line. You have Colin Johnson, Velus Jones Jr., Trent Taylor in for an offensive play on 2nd and 2, and Luke Getsy calls some weird end around that ends up losing. It was just, this wasn't a very good offensive game plan. And yes, the quarterback, his stats don't look right, but I can just tell you right now, I don't know how much blame I'm putting on Fields for a game that looked the way it did.
I just don't understand why the offensive line was so bad. Even with the injuries, I get it. They didn't have the starting center, and then they lose Nate Davis. Okay, 2/5 of the offensive line go out. That seems like a pretty obvious answer. But all of a sudden, Tevin Jenkins is bad. What did Dan Feeney have to say? I hate to it's not fair to Dan Feeney to all of a sudden have to be the spokesperson when he didn't really play all year. But what did he have to say about everything?
Yeah, so I asked him about the adjustment, when Nate Davis goes out, Cody Whitehair comes in. And he said, it is a little bit of an adjustment, especially for Cody Whitehair. And I think you tweeted out, Adam, about where Cody had been playing. He was playing right guard in this game, but there was a slight adjustment. But again, he's next to two guys that played a lot of football, and it just wasn't right. And Justin Fields also was asked about the lack of continuity, especially in the interior. And he said, of course, there's going to be a minor difference. But they always approach it, the mentality, next man up. So it shouldn't be anything too different. But you saw Tevin Jenkins losing one-on-ones. You saw guys not be able to pick up stunts and twists on the interior for whatever reason. So it was a bad day for some of the top offensive linemen on this team to have also their worst games.
Yep.
And that's what happened consistently.
Did Flus say anything about the reasoning for why Tevin Jenkins, because just so people know, Cody Whitehair not played right guard since 2017. So earlier this year when they were in this situation where both had to be on the field at the same time, Jenkins moved over to right guard, and he actually looked pretty awesome with Darnell Wright over there. Now, it's not like Cody lit the world on fire at left guard. He still ended up getting benched and losing his job. And I'm guessing the answer is as simple as, well, he's not the starter anymore. Cody Whitehair needs to be the swing guard, and this is just how this works. And that would be an acceptable answer to me. I'm just wondering if it came up.
Yeah, no, Adam, it didn't come up, but I will tell you this. Matty Eberflus was asked about the lack of pass rush for his defense, and he said that, obviously he just felt the pass rush for the Green Bay Packers and did not feel that pass rush from his guys. So I think that, again, somewhat answers the question of that. Regardless of who the Packers had on the other side, they were consistently getting back to Justin Fields, and he just didn't have a lot of time. But look, those guys were veterans still in the interior, so it doesn't even. I know that you're being put into, this situation, but Dan Feeney had to do that during the Detroit game. Didn't have his best game, but these guys, they should have that next man up mentality, but it obviously didn't come to fruition here against the Green Bay Packers.
And Carm's dying to know why Tyson Bagent was inactive. I mean, it ruined his entire night. You guys were talking to him on Friday. It makes no sense. Should Flus be fired over this?
There may be other things if we're talking about firing people that would warrant that kind of reaction. But I don't know. Yeah, Tyson was in the locker room, looked all right. Didn't look like he was coughing or sneezing or anything. But, yeah, we have to wait until next season, unfortunately, Mark, to see Bagent man take the field.
Well, we're all of us in Bagent land. We're just looking forward to OTAs and the way TB17 is going to come out and
bulked up.
Just be ready to go.
How much will you guys pay me if, let's say, let's assume Flus is coming back. There's a press conference at some point this week. If I ask the first question of the press conference and it's why was Tyson Bagent inactive?
Yeah, well, what I'd say is that he was sick. Please do it. I'd absolutely love to see it. That'd be fantastic.
Nick, anything else?
Yeah, guys, real quickly on the hit that Justin Fields took, I asked Dan Feeney just about that hit and kind of what he thought about it. And he said it was a pretty dirty hit. You still got to protect guys in this league. And again, thought it was a dirty shot. Like he mentioned, yes, Justin's running, but he's still starting to slide and just thinks it's a little BS. Again, he went all this season and had not gotten one roughing the passer penalty. And there was so many plays where it could have just easily been thrown a flag.
Every week there was one.
Every single week, guys, and he did not get one. And Justin was, asked about that too, and he basically said he just doesn't understand. He obviously has to come out after a play that he slid on, and doesn't want to get fined for saying anything. But that should speak for itself, essentially.
Right.
Like I had to come out of the game, and yet I didn't get the flag
because I got hit in the head.
Exactly,
which means it was a penalty. Yeah.
Should be.
Here's
every other quarterback, yes.
I said earlier in the show, Nick, I vowed not to go on another ref rant. I'm not going to do that right now. But what I am going to do is I'm going to quibble with the rule. If they're going to argue, well, Justin slid late or Justin's a runner, okay, well, then you can't mark the ball at the start of the slide. If you're going to have a rule where the ball gets marked at the start of the slide, the whole point of that is because he's protected from that point on. So if you're going to say that he's still vulnerable to a hit the rest of the slide, then the ball should be marked where his knee actually goes down. It's not fair. You can't be both ways. You have to go one way or the other. Either he's protected and can't be touched, or the ball should have been marked 2 yards forward where he actually got hit.
I completely agree with that. Look, if you're not going to give him that penalty, give him the yardage that he is getting when he's getting smacked on the ground. So, yeah, Adam, I like that. But, I think Justin, moving forward, would love to at least get, one roughing the passer penalty, hopefully in the 2024 season, wherever that may be. And real quickly, just one last thing. He was asked, have you done enough? Justin Fields was asked, have you done enough to ensure you'll be the quarterback here next season? And he said, I'm not sure. Decision is not in my hands, but he gave it his all. He said, no regrets. Shout out to the media for making his job a little harder. Well, all right. But he said, Chicago, I love y'all. Appreciate the fan support. In case this is my last rodeo, appreciate y'all for everything.
Ugh, that feels like a goodbye message.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Wow. If nothing else, it's a pretty good indication that Justin doesn't feel like he's 100% safe in coming back.
Oh, he's definitely – listen, they haven't told him, and they're not going to tell him, and he's got to be on edge about what's going to happen. Same thing with all of them until they know. So,
and he did say – well, he was asked what would it mean to be back, and he did say it would mean a lot, and he does have a really good relationship with Ryan Poles, and – if he is back, it means he, got that confirmation from them that they really want to send a message. They obviously trust him. And he does feel like he's trending in the right direction, you guys, in terms of just growth as a player. And, he's really just going to focus on getting healthy, spending time with family. And he also said, is it going to be tougher to, focus or not focus on all the outside noise? He's like, not really. All this conversation about the number one pick was happening last year. And, he just had to focus on himself and not worry about the outside noise. So it's going to be a fascinating, couple of months, I think, before a decision, when we know the decision has been made. But, we'll be here at CHGO Bears to cover it all every single step of the way, guys. So it's been fun. And this, it's been fun doing this with you guys from every stadium. I just wish there were more Bears wins that I can come on to talk about.
You got to work on that, Nick.
Just 7 of them, which someone on this set predicted.
I got screwed. Whatever.
But we're not going to talk about who it was.
No, we're not going to talk about it. Lawrence did a good job picking
Lawrence picked 7 wins.
Great job this year.
Great job, Lawrence.
Lawrence did a great job this year, and no one else.
Nobody else. Definitely not the guy sitting next to me.
We all know the true genius on the show. It's been obvious. I mean, basically every show. I don't even think I've ever had a bad show or a bad moment.
We know you don't think that.
He'd come back. Nick, drive home safe. 10:15 tomorrow, open locker room.
Be there.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine. It's fire Luke Getsy time.
Can I read one thing to you before you move along here, Hoge, from Justin Jones?
By the way, follow Nick on Twitter. Make sure you get all his coverage at Nicholas Moreano and allchgo.com.
Justin P. Aurelius Jones from Kevin Fishbane's Twitter account, reading this verbatim, and I think Law's going to pop up on the screen too. He was asked about whether he'd like to be back. He's a free agent. Quote, I would love to, man. This is probably the closest I've been to a college locker room that I've been in since I was in school. When I was in school, I built lifelong brotherhoods with my teammates. That's kind of how I feel here. A lot of guys here, from the trainers to the equipment staff to my teammates to the coaches. I feel like these guys are really bought in. Outside of the X's and O's, this is really a family here, and you can feel it. You don't get that everywhere. I feel like when you're building a championship team, the camaraderie and that bond, that relationship you share with your guys is what takes you to the Super Bowl. That's what takes you further in the playoffs. That's what takes you to winning multiple championships. I would love to be a part of it. You have a look of death on your face, Hoge, so I don't think you buy into none of that.
No, I buy a lot of that.
You do?
I buy a lot of that. I think teams that win the Super Bowl, most of those teams have that aspect. I also think that most of the teams that win the Super Bowl have either Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes playing quarterback because history says that's the case. Now, do you get exceptions? Do you get Nick Foles and that Eagles team beating Tom Brady when they do have that brotherhood? Yes, and then they fired that head coach a year after that. Maybe it was 2 years after that. But, so there's definitely truth to what he's saying. That's the number one thing players value when they come to work every day. It's not an easy job. Yes, they get paid millions and millions, and they're doing just fine, but it's not an easy job. You see Cole Kmet by the end of he left the game again today. We talk to him every week. That guy was fighting his ass off all season. And I'm guessing there's a small part of his brain, as much as he's talking about Super Bowls, that's not terribly unhappy that they don't have to play another game next week because he's so beat up. And he gave it everything that he possibly had it. So, there's definitely truth to what Justin Jones is saying there. There's also a lot of truth to you need good-ass players. And the Bears still have a long way to go to have a Super Bowl caliber roster.
Yep.
Perhaps a Super Bowl caliber coaching staff.
I think it was well said by you earlier saying, this was a reminder of how much further they have to go. Because the Packers, to this point, knock on wood, are not Super Bowl contenders, but they are in the playoffs, so I guess anything is possible. But at the same time, it's not just how far the Bears are away from being the Niners or the Chiefs. They got to be better than the Packers and the Lions, who are in their division. Now, they played pretty well against the Lions, but they did not play well against the Packers. And so you want to get on that level. In 2018, the worst mistake they made was thinking they were a kicker away from, being a Super Bowl team. And they had a lot more holes than they realized, or at least just didn't stay on their toes. And a game like this is what they're going to have that taste in their mouth going into the offseason, maybe as a reminder of just how far they still have to go. And there's going to be no, cries of what they're ready to do until they're ready to prove it next year.
I just feel like those guys got to be coming back on the bus all. If you're under contract and you got dough coming in, maybe you're just, hey, I gave it my all and I'm moving along, period. But I think there's got to be a lot of trepidation about exactly who's going to be here and who's not going to be here and what this whole thing's going to look like. There's no way they're walking out of there like, we're bringing this back and we're a family and nothing. There's not going to be many changes. There could be a lot of changes by the time we roll back around through here.
It was a super chat from Bears on Kauai, $4.99. If next season I have to watch another inept offensive Bears and Hawkeyes team, I will only follow the UH Warriors. That's the University of Hawaii.
Go Bows.
Rainbow Warriors.
Go Bows.
At least I expect nothing from UH.
DeMarcus Walker.
Nothing better than passing the Hawaii test every Saturday night.
Quickly, DeMarcus Walker in the locker room asked by Mark Grody if the coaching staff has built something worth bringing back. DeMarcus Walker, and I quote, "I don't know, man. That's for Mr. Warren and the McCaskey family and Pulls. It's up to those guys to make that decision. I get paid a lot of money, but not that much."
So I'm jumping off on that. I don't want to go too far on it. But look, when they lost the Browns game, a game they should have won, along with the ridiculous Denver game and the ridiculous Detroit game. There was a lot of chirping going on in that locker room, man. They were not. There was plenty of people, Justin Jones
chirping after the Browns game 3 weeks ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know. I feel like we forgot that.
Yeah, I mean, they were straight chirping. I have no idea why Justin Jones was in coverage. That's not on him.
Justin Jones said it.
Well, but no, Justin Jones was asked, and DeMarcus Walker, whoever was around him. DeMarcus Walker's not coming on this football team next year. You can mark that down. Just telling. Okay,
really? It's a pretty decent contract.
Little chirpy. Little chirpy.
A little on the chirpy side?
A little chirpy.
All right. Well, speaking of chirpy, can we hear from DJ Moore? I've been waiting like an hour to hear this.
Great. I'd love to hear DJ Moore.
Yeah, DJ. Well, I think he said something about Getsy in here. I know Nick was paraphrasing it, but I think it's important to hear.
Yeah.
At least based on what I saw on Twitter, I want to hear the context of what actually was said here.
This is that portion of the interview.
Okay, here's DJ Moore.
DJ, a lot of people think that this offense needs a new coordinator. I'm curious, what's your level of belief in Luke Getsy and what he's doing with this offense?
I think it's fine. Like I said, it just comes down to us being explosive on the offensive side. We got the players to do it. We got our quarterback to do it. Everything else we just need to call the plays that put us in position to have explosive down the field or catch and runs like we did today. So we just got to be an explosive team and not a team that's just behind the sticks.
But is Luke the guy to call those plays? I mean, if it's play calling, is that a coordinator issue?
You think so?
No, I'm saying if you think play calling is an issue.
I'm asking you because I just answered the question behind the details of it. It really doesn't matter who's calling the plays. We just got to be explosive and do what we do as players.
That was a yes. Was that not a yes?
Doesn't matter who's calling plays.
It's fine. He's fine. We have the players. We have the quarterback. We just need the play calls to get us more explosive plays.
Yeah, it wasn't a ringing endorsement. Let's
and then and kind of to credit DJ Moore for a second, I think Potsy got his answer and then re-asked the question, and DJ was like, "Dude, I just answered your question."
Right.
Like,
well, and this is the thing. Like
that was okay. So this is why we just did this, because I read that on Twitter. I thought that's what I read, but it's always important to hear the context and how it was actually said. That backed up what I heard on Twitter, or what I read on Twitter. Okay. That was interesting.
And this goes back to what I've said. DJ Moore, after the Cleveland loss, went in the locker room, was asked by a Cleveland reporter about the upcoming decision for Poles with the quarterback, and he defiantly said, Fields is our guy, and doubled it down by saying, those quarterbacks coming out, those two guys coming out, they're not better than Fields. So, to me...
Which, fair or not, he's going to have to answer that
right.
if they end up drafting one of those two other
Potentially,
quarterbacks.
if they do, 100%. They'll, Chicago media will 100% ask him to run that clip back. So, but regardless, it just goes to show you how he was willing to step out on a ledge for his quarterback, and the players, whether it's DeMarcus Walker talking about Eberflus or it's DJ Moore talking about Luke Getsy there, they're not as willing. And a lot of what we've had to do this year is try to pick through the weeds of trying to decipher what these guys feel. And, it's a little bit of psychology game here, but sometimes you can see the tells.
It's a good underlining. I agree. Look, these guys, I think deep down, maybe not even deep down, right on the surface, they think they're a playoff team, and they don't. And there's some disappointment they're not. And I think a lot of them are pointing fingers at how different opportunities and how they were coached in key moments as to the reason why they're not there. So I think there's some frustration with the coaching staff, without a doubt.
Marcus Walker, tell you what though, got to pay Jalen Johnson.
He said that.
Yep.
I saw that moving around.
Well, that's Braggs' point. Like, when they want to say what they want to say about a guy they truly support, they say
they know the power of their
Yes.
words, especially a guy like DJ Moore. Yeah. All these guys do. All these guys do. They know the power of their words through the media.
And it's probably maybe a little bit unfair to read into what DJ Moore said and be like, oh, he wants the new offensive coordinator. But on the other hand, if he wanted to go to bat for his offensive coordinator, like the way he did for Justin Fields, which is your point, he could have done that.
There's a much more political response, vanilla response that isn't going to elicit reaction that they know they can give. Once they make that decision to go further than that's a decision they conscientiously make. It's a lot of times fans think that their players are being tricked into answering questions like that, and I think you don't give the players enough credit for what they understand their words have meaning.
Players are also going to believe in players and anyway.
All right, I want to get to my notes from this game real quick because there's just a couple things I want to hit on. Carm, I don't know if you have your notes.
Are they funny notes?
If they're funny notes, or if we're retiring the notes. We might retire the
notes.
notes.
I bet you Hoge's notes are funnier than Carm's because Carm's notes this year
most of these notes are not
funny.
very funny.
They're not funny?
They're depressing.
I'll bet you my notes are hysterical because they're.
And then we have all these super chats.
Directed.
Did we lose our super chats earlier? Is that what happened?
Well,
I want to acknowledge that if that's what happened.
Yeah. So when the stream broke, it was a screen that froze, just like a Luke Getsy screen. Yeah, that happened. We lost him, but now I was able to. I know that most of them were on the screen before.
Yeah.
This all happened. I can go back and look at, I think, most of them, so I could just read some of the ones that were.
They all did get on the screen. We'll try to pull it. So if you were watching earlier, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty at one point, so we really, really do apologize if you paid some money for a super chat and we don't address it. We're going to do our best to get to all of them, though. We know we have more here, but we appreciate all the support along the way, including sometimes the technical difficulties. Please hit that like button. We appreciate you. A couple things from the game I wanted to point out. First sack, third down that Justin Fields took, low snap, disrupted the whole play. And
hilarious, Braggs.
That's so funny.
Not funny.
Nicholas Moreano, great reporting before the game, told us all that players were slipping in warm-ups. Yep. Who was it at halftime that told me they were cheating? Was that you?
Yeah, I said it right away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, footing was a problem, especially in that first half. I think they cleaned it up a little bit after that. I do want to point out, Packers actually could have won this game by more. They missed a field goal. They blew it at halftime to attempt another field goal. And they dropped another touchdown, right? Or they dropped a touchdown before missing the field goal.
Yes.
So
yes. Nice play by Stevenson,
Stevenson
I believe,
broke
to
that
knock
up.
it out.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a straight drop. One of us, our prop bet hit in the first quarter.
Congratulations, Adam. None of my prop bets hit at the end of the year on a 2-game losing streak.
I have to say,
two-bet losing streak.
You did a phenomenal job with a lot of your predictions this year. I will give you the credit for that. You were awesome with your prop bets. You probably had more prop bet hits than anybody. Your prop bet that you gave out today on the pregame show was the worst prop bet of the year.
No, I've had
it was
garbage.
Worse than any time Greg said to bet $1,000 on Kari blasting game.
No, it wasn't.
You thought Tyler Scott was going to get 40 yards?
Yes, I did, and he should have. And Luke Getsy, you're fired.
If anybody bet Kari anytime touchdown the entire season, DM me, and I'll take you to lunch.
Wow. That's a lot of lunches.
I lost on Tyler Scott. It was plus 340 for him to get 40 yards. I thought that was a fair gamble.
But it was minus 100% of your money.
You got 12.
My prop bet was Bears will be winning after the first quarter. They were. Thank you, Anders Carlson, for missing that field goal. Because, quite frankly, they should have been losing. Or at least tied.
You won it, though, Hoge. Yep. You banked that. Congrats.
Flus got caught in a substitution issue. Had to burn a timeout in the first half. You guys remember that? He tried to sub everybody out. Packers went hurry up. Timeout. Bam. We talked about the right guard, left guard situation. Jalen Jones went in at cornerback. Oh, they really missed Jalen Johnson. We talked about that.
Yep.
Jalen Jones ended up coming in when Terrell Smith got hurt. Terrell Smith was struggling. Then he got hurt.
Yep.
That was not ideal. So Jalen Johnson probably helped his case. I'm sure he wanted to play. I don't know what the hell happened there, but he didn't play. It probably helped his contract status, and he stayed healthier by not further damaging his shoulder. DeMarcus Walker and Montez Sweat were not on the field for the Packers' second touchdown. There was a string of plays there where they were not on the field. It goes back to substitution issues from earlier in the season.
They subbed out 4 for 4.
Yeah.
They're
running hockey lines. Jim Nantz called it a hockey line at one point. A line change.
I was sitting there, when are you bringing back in your starters? Hello.
Yeah. Refs saved Matt LaFleur a challenge for some reason. That was extremely suspicious. They called an obvious incomplete pass incomplete, then reversed it to a touchdown just so it can initiate an automatic review. If it had been called the other way, which it was incomplete, Matt LaFleur would have had to burn a challenge flag, which he may or may not have done. I think he would have, and that would have been his last challenge of the game. Ended up not mattering, but that was weird.
Yeah.
And that's all I got.
Yeah, that was weird, and I'd like to go back and watch that whole sequence again. Here, Carm notes for the last time this year.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
That's fine.
We used to have a graphic for this. Like, the Carm notes got so bad, we don't even do the graphic.
Yeah, that's right. I just stopped caring.
Wow.
It's just with this, as you saw an hour and 3 minutes ago, this system is not great. So I took out things that I deemed unnecessary.
It's okay. It's okay, Law. That was a shot at his notes, not at
don't worry about
the
it.
graphic.
No problem.
Coming up.
Well, look, mine are quick today. Justin Fields runs on the field to start the game. We should have known it was going to be a problem right away because he had his hands in his pocket. His hands were cold. It's not that cold out there. It's bare weather. Why are your hands in the pocket? That was horrible. Hands were cold.
Keep your hands warm.
I know.
Your hands should be in your...
Just have some fun with it, would you, Hoger?
Not funny.
It's not funny. We'll have fun with it when they start being fun.
Was it funny when there was Greg Braggs? I don't like told you the field wasn't in good shape. The guy was literally crying about the field.
They cheated. You can tell. Clear
It is
cheating
weird
tactics.
that Soldier Field ended up in better shape at the end of the season than Lambeau Field. Yeah, that's bizarre.
It was
Yeah.
that was
not have had that on my bingo
I knew
card.
it. I knew they were going to cheat.
If nothing else, if Flus leaves us, and I don't think he will, but he fixed the turf at Soldier Field.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Eberflus is a legend.
Turf is terrible. Okay, they're both playing on it. There was also at the same time that Braggs was celebrating a media member getting dragged through Twitter all day long. He was really happy about it.
Who was that?
Nobody.
Not going to name
Who
it.
got
but
dragged?
He was this
What
guy
does it rhyme with?
Just move on.
Does it rhyme with? It rhymes with I'm not
Adam Johns?
No.
Rhymes with Adam Johns?
It rhymes with Winley. All right.
There we go.
I wasn't doing any of the dragging. That guy does a great job, and he's a good person. But anyway, then
I'm going to be called a fanboy again.
Well, you are what you are.
An idiot.
Yeah. Then I thought that it didn't get enough love around Twitter and anywhere. The Santos dong. He had the Santos.
The Santos what?
The Santos dong. The Santos. He donged
The
one
boink?
in. Yeah,
It's doink.
He
not
donged it.
Dong.
He Santos dong.
No, it's a doink.
No, it's a dong. I think Santos dong.
It's not Santos dong.
He has that little floating like halfway up the thing, and then he donged it in. It was a dong. Santos dong. I think that is the thing. Then yeah, Jordan Love ran out there, and he also had his hands in his pockets, and that's when I knew that there was going to be a problem there too. There goes Nate Davis.
But there wasn't.
Not for him. He.
Are these funny?
I think these.
You weren't listening during the one that actually was funny.
I heard you laughing. I was like, no kidding. These are
he
funny.
said Santos dong. He said that.
I was gonna.
And I
said that.
And I knew you weren't paying attention because you would have laughed at that.
You miss Santos dong. It's just, I don't.
No one missed that. Everybody's saying that this should not be on YouTube.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, this is where the show goes off the rails. Right here.
There goes Nate Davis. Remember when Nate Davis walked up the tunnel? And I was just thinking to myself, there he goes. And I don't even know if he was here. And don't tell me that was a good signing. And I just
I don't even know if he was here.
the Nate Davis started off the year tragedy, was gone forever. I'm not, and then he was here for 5 seconds. Then he got hurt. Then he was back. Then he was hurt again. Now he's just running off the field to leave the season. Terrell Smith just got crushed today. He was horrible. And now, of course, after the game, people are saying that they missed Jalen. Jim, the sales guy who got his barbecue.
Yeah.
First touchdown is the Packers. What his quote was, "I thought we were done with this shit." Well done by Big Jim.
Jim also came here in a Cutler jersey today.
Yeah, that was.
Are you allowed to wear Cutler jerseys?
No,
Is that a acceptable jersey?
I wouldn't allow it, but I know Bears fans adore him, so they can wear it. I wouldn't.
The guy brought the barbecue, so we got to give him love. But and that color jersey, fire Jim. Velas, can we give Velas a little bit of love here? Velas had a good day, man. 3 solid kick returns.
2.5.
Negative Hoge.
Yeah, they seem to get worse, actually. That third one where you're like, yeah, there we go. He got just hammered.
He get a couple to the
25.
35. Then he got laid out on one.
Yeah.
When Mark jinxed it. He was like, what did you say? He's like, Velas is having a good day. And as he's ending the sentence, Velas gets completely laid out.
The next one was good. The field sneak with the Getsy combo where it was a little bit out in the gun. Then he moved up there. But they executed it terribly. Feeney snapped it late, but it still worked.
Can we talk about the refs spotting the ball on both of those plays? Did you guys notice that?
It was not.
He literally is going in a straight line.
I've said this. I've made this observation for 15 years.
And then he tries to avoid a player, and he goes like this, and then he like.
I have made this observation for 15 years. The game of inches, when they spot this, there's no chip in the ball, and it comes down to, like you just said, the direction in which the ref is running towards the ball to place it at the line of scrimmage.
In this case, he moves to avoid an offensive line. No,
Right.
you're spotting a football. That guy has to move for you. You don't move for the player
Right.
that's in your way. You're
And if
literally your job in the moment is to put the ball exactly where you saw it. You don't what?
And if I was a coach, honestly, this would be a coaching point for me. I would be teaching players to like back up and act like they're just innocently like, oh, sorry I ran into you, bud. Like, because it comes down to that sometimes. Yeah. And even if they do end up correctly spotting it, it'll take the other team challenging it to get to that point. It's a game of inches, man.
Indeed it is, Santos Dung. Okay.
My brother-in-law just texted me. He's a Packer fan. He says, since Weston, my nephew was born, the Packers are 10-1 against the Bears.
So it's that kid's fault?
Well, that kid stays strong, and I think I talked about this after the first game of the year. He was still running around with a Bears jersey on after that game. He's a Bears fan because my sister's a Bears fan, and I don't know. I got some thoughts there. I'm not going to say out loud.
My friend just texted me. I legit hate
better days ahead, Weston.
Off the notes, my friend texted me. I legit hate Braggs. And I said, "Ha ha, you'd love him." He's like, "I know." Triggers me like no other. Love hate. You got to love hate in the Carman family.
That's like you with most of the people that watch this show.
Oh, they died. No, it's pure hate.
I mean,
they come back. They come back for you to trigger them.
I understand the implications of standing on the Caleb Island. I'm sorry for those of you that
you are not on an island with Caleb.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm not saying I'm the only
like Manhattan.
person.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're on the island of Manhattan.
That's not true. How many polls have you put out, Justin versus Caleb? It's always 80. What's the percentages every time?
But right now, after you lose to the Packers 17-9, it's probably 50-50.
The other island is Long Island.
I'm not saying I'm by myself on this island. It's just like Meatball Island. There's
one of the islands is Manhattan. The other one's Long Island. They're both popular.
Okay, regardless, I just think that's why some of the fans are upset at me. But at the end of the day, it's just what I think is going to happen.
No one's upset at you. Everybody loves you. He loves you. I love you. Coke loves you.
I'm upset that Carm's notes is still going.
Loves you. Okay, well, fine. We'll end it up here. I got two more here. One, whoever yelled it, I think it was you, but it might have been you. Somebody yelled, "Let Peterman cook."
That was me.
There we go.
1,000% not me.
Okay, Lawrence gets credit for "Let Peterman cook." That was amazing.
I believe I said let Nate cook, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then Justin, they had to run him off the field. They had to get him clear. Then so miraculously, it was the fastest clearing in the history of concussion protocol.
Last throw of the year, you better hit that camera. Didn't even come close.
Loser.
And that was Carm's notes. See there?
Yes! Yay! Oh, that's tender for
Tomorrow,
me.
Carm will be releasing a single about the day Tyson Bagent was inactive. And how sad it was.
It's to the day the music died. That'll be the
yes. Ooh, you're onto something.
So bye.
Okay.
Tyson Bagent,
you'll be back as our backup. Start 4 games next year.
Super chats. We have a lot of them. Do you want to do them?
I do.
3,300 people watching. Thank you for hitting the like button. We love you.
We are so sorry for today's Bears performance.
We're going to get through as many of these as we possibly can. I honestly have no idea how long we've been going because usually that counter at the top of our
we started at about 6:06 p.m. It's 8:33.
We're going to go all night long.
We are not
all night.
I'm still trying to figure out where I'm sleeping tonight because I might stay downtown.
Sleeping at Carm's.
You're welcome to do it.
Santos dong. $50 super chat. D. Shumack 27. 16 pass attempts, 5 sacks, 3 scrambles, 24 total dropbacks. We have guys in the league throwing 40, 50 times in a game. Almost no attempts to move the pocket. It's not modern NFL offense, and it very rarely has been. I agree.
Someone threw in the chat at one point saying that a guy named Easton Stick threw 47 times today, which I thought was hilarious.
It goes back to something Carm says a lot that I completely agree with. I think it's a great way to measure things sometimes. That's not what it's supposed to look like. You know what it's supposed to look like, and that is not what it's supposed to look like.
You know what it's supposed to look like?
You shouldn't have to squint to see what you want to see here. And we all set the expectations in the summer. You needed an answer at quarterback. You needed to know with 100% certainty that Justin Fields was the guy going forward. And if that wasn't the case, that was your answer. And now we're trying to move the goalposts on that. And we're doing the same song and dance we've done forever in this town. It's the offensive coordinator's fault. It's the offensive line's fault. He doesn't have enough weapons.
I mean, I got people screaming at me, friends of mine who are screaming at me, like, do not get rid of Justin. Absolutely not, 100%. And they believe it. And
okay,
I've been saying for a while that I think you
as
can
I've
win.
said, and I'll say it again here on this show in front of the thousands of fans still watching all the way into this. If they keep Justin Fields, I will admit I was wrong, and we can meet up somewhere here in the city in an open field, and you guys can chuck meatballs at me all day long. We order thousands of meatballs, and you guys can chuck them at me until I finally start crying. I don't care.
We went through this before.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Because our guy, Mark, from Smokestaff, I would never, ever, 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 ever say, Mark, will you please make a bunch of meatballs that we can just throw?
This sounds like a fun time, so we're going to do it.
No.
But it's on the condition they keep Fields. If they keep Fields, every person that's ever believed in him can chuck meatballs at me and Mark. Mark, I'm dragging him into this. Don't give me that look. You're going to do it, and it's going to be fun. Everyone can chuck meatballs at us.
Okay, but can they at least be crappy meatballs?
Yeah, we don't have to waste good meatballs. Of course not.
Okay.
We look like savages.
Can I read you one? Thank you for that moment in time. Mark Grody covers the Bears. Bears safety Jaquan Brisker, quote, I felt like we could have tightened up on the receivers a lot more than we did today. We gave them too much room, and I really have no respect for them at all, just to be honest. Why? No, and his answer, no one's over there, no respect, they have no stars.
You know what?
Brisker.
I like Jaquan Brisker. Dude, you guys have lost 10 games in a row to the Packers. It's time to stop talking shit about the Packers and actually beat them.
I mean, dude, come on.
So it's actually getting a little – because remember Justin Jones this offseason? Their fans are the dumbest fans or whatever he said, and they don't know what the heck's going on. Like, okay, whatever. Just win a game.
Yeah, dude.
You got to beat the Packers at some point, man. You can't just keep talking, especially after a loss.
Brisker,
that's a little annoying.
Brisker, I love you, but you've lost your mind. you can't, dude.
I mean, Jaden Reed's running all over the field.
Jaden Reed is a rookie.
He's not falling down.
You think that Jaden Reed wouldn't be the second best wide receiver on the Bears in 0.8 of a second? I mean, that's not even close.
There's a show I know of that spent 4 months talking about Jaden Reed and how good he looked in a Bears uniform.
By the way, Christian Watson, you think he wouldn't fit here? And I understand he didn't play today. You think Romeo Doubs wouldn't fit in the Bears wide receiver room?
There's a show I know of that 2 years ago spent 4 months talking about how good Christian Watson would look in a Bears uniform.
I mean, they got nobody over there?
Oh, man.
I don't know, man. With all due respect, we're running out EQ.
All right. Yeah, Trenton Taylor and whoever number 80 is.
Poor Colin Johnson.
Colin damn-ass Johnson.
I believe.
What are you talking about? You
look at Jake, young man. There's no need to feel down. $49.99 super chat from one of the YMCA brothers, Jake. Yeah, I mean, look at him. There's no need to feel unhappy. I disagree. The defense didn't.
I believe he missed the word play.
Right.
Didn't play
I disagree.
well.
The defense didn't play well. 17 points, and how many of those catches weren't uncontested? Keep the offense. Get a better play caller. Get a new QB coach. Draft J.J. McCarthy. Let him sit for a bit. I don't want to see Peterman again. You show some respect to the Tank Commander. He got us the number 1 pick last year, and he helped secure the number 9 pick this year.
Jake, he had a great handoff.
The handoff.
Jake, we really do appreciate the $50 super chat. I was just thinking, should we start an office pool on what day Jake takes down the Justin Fields fathead?
No, that's never coming down.
No, I think we should start a pool.
And just so you know, when we do this meatball chucking event, if they do keep Fields, Jake is going to be first in line to obliterate.
That meatball he's going to have ready, it's going to be the size of this football.
He's rolling that
It's going to be a football
right
meatball.
now together. Yeah.
Okay, you've been talking about this event for...
And
it's going to happen.
And it's going to be frozen, not cooked.
Yeah, yeah. Frozen meatball from Jake.
Tyler, $20 super chat. Eberflus is a clown. Okay. Only reason our defenses look good is because we played nobody, and he's going to keep his job because of it. Ben Johnson or Harbaugh, I'm so sick of the Packers I could cry. Yeah, the Packers are obnoxious.
I'll read this. My guy, Will Brooks, big-time MMA. He's a former
Just
MMA
read
guy.
the super chat.
Will, hey, I'm just giving you a little background. You better be careful. Will can kick your ass.
I didn't mean that, Will. Take all the time. Tell me more about Will. Where did he go to high school?
I don't know where he went to high school, but he's a well-known former MMA guy.
Does he put mustard on the cheeseburger or just ketchup?
Can we read the super chat?
Yeah, I mean, you.
We're like 3 hours into the show. Can we actually
$20 super, 3 hours into the show. We have over 3,000 live viewers. We will be here all night. $20 super chat. I've been saying this for a while.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Greg, get on out of here. We got this. Me and Carm can handle this. Greg is Mayor Flip-Flopper. Glad you are finally admitting it, Greg. I've said this for the last week. I'm done arguing with everyone. I've said it for a while. This is a hard decision, and there's Hoge. He left us. It's a hard decision. What do you want me to do?
$20 from Mike Bacon. The Baconator is here. Why not ask the new offensive coordinator, maybe head coach, if it's Harbaugh, decide. Do you want Fields, Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe a new left tackle, man to center in the 3rd round, or do you want Caleb Williams and maybe a tackle? Hey, there will be a lot of questions asked if they go down that road, Mike. No doubt about it.
Yep.
They very well might do exactly that. Frank Bentley, $20. You're next. Sorry for grammar, but he's a playmaker, not a quarterback. 40 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, less than 3 full seasons, injuries. And if you keep him, you got to pay him. Giants paid D Dimes 4 years, $160 million. How's that going? We won't have the number 1 pick again. So Frank wants us to draft Caleb. You're up.
Yep. Matthew Hostetler, $20 super chat. Keep JF1, spend the money, and draft picks. Come on, sit down, Kevin. And draft picks to get T. Hill. I don't know. Number 1 overall to grab Marvin Harrison Jr. Get Justin JH. This is going all over the map. You'd get JF, Comet, Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Hill with a coach that knows the Wildcats. Sell out. Be the first team in history to run a Wildcat offense.
That Hostetler's gone wild.
Yeah, that was just full blown. That was like Duke level.
That was a roller coaster
Duke
right
level
there.
right there.
Girls gone wild. Hostetler
Here
gone
we got
wild.
our guy, Kevin Kadick.
I just want to come on to say something. I don't know if you guys have talked about this. I haven't been able to listen to the entire show.
Yes, sir.
Working on my 10 quick thoughts for tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. They're not going as quick as I thought they would. So I'm looking at the Bears' schedule for next year. If they don't pick Caleb Williams in number 1, they have a schedule in which they could be playing against Caleb Williams with Washington. They also play the Patriots, Drake May. They play the Panthers again, Bryce Young. And then the Texans are on the schedule, so they'd be going against C.J. Stroud.
Do they have the Cardinals also on this?
They do have the Cardinals on there.
Marvin Harrison Jr. maybe?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's going to shake out. But it's kind of interesting that they would be going against all of the quarterbacks that they passed up on the last.
I see what you're saying.
Last 2 drafts.
I see what you're putting down.
That's why you're the head of content. That is content creation that has not been created, and I like that angle, and quite frankly, it makes me terrified. This is dangerous, but I'm going to do it.
It's terrifying.
Oh, my God.
I just want an international trip. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, you might get that. We might be
There goes
going
that account that is Hoge's ready to
Brazil,
come back.
something like that. Welcome back, Hoge. While you're here, Joseph.
Did Kevin send us to Brazil while I was gone?
Yeah, Joseph Hallman, $9.99 super chat. If all those reasons Carm just listed to bring in Harbaugh were told to Caleb Williams, he'd still say he wouldn't want to come here and give thumbs up to tweets to keep Justin Fields. The dude can't handle a challenge.
You don't know Caleb Williams,
Well,
Joseph
his most
Hallman.
recent if we're going to monitor Caleb Williams likes, his most recent was the
I'm not gonna
Bears
monitor.
wishing Virginia McCaskey a happy 101st birthday.
How dare he? What a jerk.
You don't know Virginia.
Rick Bernico, $10. 2024, all things being the same, would Bears be better with Caleb Williams in the current roster or JW?
JW and
Justin Fields, I'm assuming, and Marvin Harrison Jr. in current roster, not including other draft picks or free agent signings.
Therein lies the zillion-dollar question for Ryan Poles.
Brian Marshall, $10. Flus is as inconsistent as Justin, makes head-scratching decisions, and yet he's safe and Fields is out. Clean house. Well,
Maybe, maybe not, Brian. We shall see.
Guy
I agree with him on the inconsistency.
Our Guy Finley, $9.99. I wish Justin Fields the best. He got a bad deal and done dirty. But questions plus the contract, sit plus number one pick equals time to move on for everyone. Hope he balls out elsewhere.
That'll be tough to take if he does, but I will be rooting for him if they do go down that road because Justin has been first class times 10.
Quay Walker on Justin Fields after the game today, per Matt Schneidman.
The Schneidman?
Whenever we keep him in the pocket and allow him to play quarterback and not allow him to run, we've got a real good chance of winning the game.
Good to see the bars being thrown from both sides in a rivalry. That is...
well, I mean, for some Bears fans, it takes you back to when they said that about Mitch. After beating him week 1 in 2019, some of the Packers in the locker room said very similar sentiments.
Yep. It was we need to make him play quarterback game.
Yep.
And they did. And
And to this point, though, most players that have gone up against Fields have sung his praises. That's one of the first times I've seen an opposing player say something negatively about him.
Well,
after
he's
the
just
game.
keeping the
the
yearly
rivalry.
tradition of a Packer player shitting on the Bears quarterback after winning the game. D. Shumack, $27, $10. Thank you, DJ. Been saying it all season. I'm assuming that's in response to what DJ Moore said about Luke Getsy.
Syed Jaffrey.
Oh,
1999. Go, you got it, Lawrence.
Oh, I'll say it. You know who knows how to break a losing streak to a rival? Harbaugh.
It's true.
You know
Lost
what
and
the funny
lost
thing
and
about
lost.
that is, we're like 3 years removed from him having to take a pay cut at Michigan because he wasn't getting the job done.
The dude's a freaking cheater, and he's a pain in the ass, and he sucks, but he wins, so whatever. I'm not a Harbaugh guy, but I get.
So is Belichick. All of those things.
Right. I know. I know. And I'm not a Belichickian. I wonder who it is. Is it Brady or is it Belichick? It's the freaking quarterback. What do you think it is? He doesn't have Belichick like he didn't have in Cleveland, doesn't have Brady like he didn't have in Cleveland, like he doesn't have now. Brady goes and wins the Super Bowl in Tampa. What's Belichick been doing?
Apparently he was eulogized at halftime of the Bears game. I did not listen to that. But Syed's continuing here. Yeah, no, the CBS, it was...
because Belichick, yeah.
Yeah, Cower and whoever else were just, like, talking about Belichick in the past tense as if he was just, like, dead.
Well, Carm did that to Justin earlier.
Sure.
Yep.
Syed Jaffrey just, he continues on here, another $10, saying, think about the 49ers. They always contend due to coaching. Think about Sean Payton improving the Broncos. Think Tomlin and 17 straight seasons of W's. We need Harbaugh.
I will say this about Harbaugh, though. I don't think you're getting 17 seasons. I mean, he did just turn 60, right?
Did he?
Yeah, I think he just turned 60. And on top of that, even if he was 50, he doesn't stick around places very long. But I'd sign up for 4 good years. A couple Super Bowls. All right.
Give me 3 years, win one, get out of here. I'm down.
I want to go to the...
One and done would be fine if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of super chats earlier that I know were on the screen, but they were like $50 ones, so I thought we should read these, even though you won't be able to see them on screen.
Big of you to do
Big
this.
Cram, $49.99.
I saw that, my guy.
He says, how am I in Mexico? And the few NFL fans over here were telling me that the Packers are going to win. Oh, well, thank you, CHGO, for the coverage this season. You guys sure made the highs feel high and the lows not so low. Here's to a fun off season.
You're the best, Cram.
Big Cram.
Cullen Crawford, $50, blaming you guys. Hoge and Carm had to bring a cheesehead into the studio.
That's true.
I mean, it was
No,
to be fair, that was just Hoge.
Yeah.
Hoge brought the cheese head.
Hoge
that
brought
was-
and has a yellow mug.
Oh, there it is.
And a yellow mug.
It says Carmel Catholic on it. I coach there.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with the Green Bay Packers.
You don't bring yellow in today.
You're
See?
right. Me bringing in a cheesehead is why they lost their 10th straight game.
That is why.
You got to own your part right now. You shouldn't have gone yellow mug. That's on you. It has nothing to do with why they lost today.
Meatball tossing tomorrow.
But
That cheesehead got the Bears the #1 pick in the draft.
I don't care about the cheese. I'm talking about yellow mug on Packers Day is a bad
Your
job.
notebook's yellow.
Your notebook is yellow.
You're the whole reason why the whole city of Chicago sucks at sports. Because of that
Somebody
notebook.
just said Brad's hat is kind of yellow. No, it
It's
isn't.
a little mustardy.
Calm down.
Maybe a spicy brown mustard. But it's
Carhartt Brown.
You look like a Packer fan.
mustard. Did we... I know we had the discussion of the user 088JLB. Did we read the super chat that said, do we really believe if we placed Caleb in the same exact situation?
Yeah, we read that.
We did read that one. Okay,
yep,
so
yep.
that one's gone. Hold on. Now I'm going to go to
No,
something.
you're doing a great job, Lawrence. We appreciate it.
I'm going to go to something on screen here that we haven't read yet. Let's go to Andrew.
Andrew says Justin Fields holds onto the ball longer than I held on to my ex.
Oh,
Caleb
boy.
Williams, you are Chicago Bear.
Chicago Bear.
Chicago.
You're in a bad relationship. The worst thing you can do is compound it and stay in that relationship. Hit me up on Twitter.
Oh, boy.
That was
El
actually
Taco
that was
Guapo.
actually 100% serious advice that Carm just gave.
It is.
El Taco Guapo. It was a mistake to hire Flus when he was a defensive-minded head coach. And during that time, they needed to get a coach that was going to develop Justin Fields, and I completely agree.
That is
They've
Danny
done-
Parkins' burner.
They've
YouTube
done
account, by
Justin
the way.
Fields no favors to have a coach come in here and Luke Getsy that, A, didn't have head coaching experience developing a quarterback or having his own system.
I was thinking about that earlier when Woot said that he would take Flus if he just hires the right OC. Getsy was his guy. Like, that was part of why, like, Flus had lined up Getsy. They met at some coaching convention or something, and it always been like they liked each other's philosophies ever since. And it was like part of the reason why Poles was sold on Flus. That counts.
Yep.
I agree.
That counts.
Yes.
Counts.
I was excited about Luke Getsy.
Everybody was. It was highly regarded as a great home run hire.
Mark Pearson, you guys need to stay live on this stream until April 25th. I agree.
No. I'm pretty sure the screen, it's definitely going to freeze at some point again. So.
Nerd Mafia 199. Getsy still works for Green Bay, I think.
Possible.
I did get a
Sleeper agent.
I got a tweet this week that said they need to bench Tanyan for Mercedes Lewis because Tanyan is a secret agent for the Packers. Mercedes Lewis came from the Packers too.
That's true. Bunch of secret
So
agents.
did Lucas Patrick.
St.
So did Luke
Brown.
Getsy. Maybe so did St. Brown.
Seriously, we had a bunch of sleeper cells.
Get rid of all of them.
Well,
Every
maybe
single one.
stop signing all these guys from Green Bay that they don't want anymore.
Yeah. Syed Jaffrey, $4.99 super chat. Here's to next year, which is this year. Anyway, keep up the great work, fellas. CHGO has become my daily podcast. We really appreciate that.
Top daily podcast. Thank you very much, Steven. $5.
By the way, this is Stephen D. He's been throwing us super chats throughout the evening, and I appreciate Stephen D. Thank you.
Thank you, Steven. Honestly, the lack of protection for Fields is part of the reason I'm ready to move on from Fields.
I think he means from the refs.
Yes, I believe he does too. And I hate to say this. This is maybe the most unfair negative you could put on Fields because it's not his fault. But I kind of agree with you. Like, I think that if they're never going to protect him as he continues to run around, it sucks. But, like, yeah, that needs to be part of the equation of maybe why you move on. It's a miracle that this guy has not had more injuries than he's already had
True
with
story.
the amount of hits that he takes.
And he's
He is
already
one of the
missed 11
toughest
games.
quarterbacks out there, which is a plus for him. But the law of football averages, just like the time he got hurt this year, he finally hurt himself, holding on the ball too long, taking an extra hit. It came back to bite him. And just common sense in history of football tells you it's going to happen again.
It's a law of averages for sure.
Yeah.
He literally got concussed tonight and somehow got through a concussion in 3 seconds. It was amazing.
Chubbs, my guy Chubbs, $5 super chat. Also an Illini fan, boiler up. The defense just gave up 300 yards and only 5 incomplete passes to the rival team, losing for the 10th time in a row. No one deserves to stay. And he adds that along with how many times in 3 years has Justin lit it up? Not all his fault, but when you lose 10 times in a row, Chubbs follows that up with saying everybody keeps pretending that Justin doesn't leave 5 to 10 open, staring at the rush. His feet are slow, his windup. It's time to move on. Chubbs is ready to move on. And I do believe when you lose to a team 10 times in a row, that opens up some kind of shadow realm that we all fall into, like in Mortal Kombat.
I can't believe that Chubbs is ready to move on. I will say the windup thing doesn't get talked about a whole lot. That thing is lengthy.
Jorge, $4.99. No, I'm assuming that's Mexican pesos.
Yeah, it's 49 pesos.
Yeah,
So
it's still okay.
under the math there, it might be 4.99.
Whatever it is, it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, Flus coached a better game for Jordan Love than Justin Fields.
Left a lot of open windows.
Sweetness, $34, $2. Flus says pack games are just another game.
Yep. Lovey came in here and said, we're going to
Yeah.
beat the Packers.
I would not hate my inner meatball.
There it comes.
Would not hate if whoever the next coach is, whenever that is, comes in and is like straight up F the Packers. That'd be pretty badass.
Well, take the North and never give it back. You got to beat Green Bay.
And yes, I realized 2 seconds ago I just got mad because of player.
Can I say this too? Gary just texted me a really good point.
We literally had a conversation earlier about that.
I don't care. Don't
Like,
care.
we had a conversation about him doing that.
Not care. So, Gary Ross just made a really good point too. To all these $50 super chats and everything else, if you're putting all this money into the super chats, which we really appreciate, put some of that money towards becoming a diehard. You know, during this offseason, we're going to be doing, extensive offseason breakdowns of everyone in the draft, not just the quarterbacks. Every year, Hoge puts together a whole board of players. What was it, 90 players last year?
No, we had our Bears 100.
Bears 100.
We're already working on it, and I think our top 20 is going to be coming out very, very soon.
So
been working on that for a while. It's part of why I've been watching tape on these guys already. So you're going to get your top 20 soon, but it's only available to diehards.
Right. So this is your chance. And you get a free shirt right out the gate if you become a diehard. Discounts to our events. You get access to our Discord lounge. We do happy hours where we have Zoom calls where it's just people that are diehards that get to hang out and talk with us. And we'll be doing some of those here during the off season. So, throwing some money down on the super chats, we really appreciate it. Put some of that money towards becoming a diehard. Subscribe to CHGO. Head over to allchgo.com, and we'll see you this off season with some great coverage.
We do a phenomenal job, if I have to say so myself, during the season. But in the offseason, we go next level. Nobody covers the offseason the way we cover the offseason.
We're still doing
there is no offseason.
5 shows a day. We'll still have Bears After Dark.
5
6
shows a week.
What?
A
5 shows a week.
If we do 5 shows a day.
5 shows a day.
I mean,
maybe tomorrow.
At CHGO Sports, we do it.
Yeah.
There are days where I do 5 shows a day.
Same. So.
I do 17 shows a day. I can't wait to do the show that I'm going to do in my car on the way home.
Yep. So.
Speaking of having to do 5 shows, I got one coming up.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know.
Hundreds of super chats.
We really do appreciate all support. We cannot get to all of them. They've all been on the screen, though. We greatly appreciate it. I'm going to close the show on this note. I was sort of half joking during the game how badly the NFL wanted the Packers in the playoffs. Not surprisingly, if I had to ask you, Packers, Cowboys, which window it got for
Saturday night?
Saturday, 7 o'clock.
No, see, you guys, no. People don't realize this either. You know what's the highest rated time slot?
Sunday,
it's not the prime
Sunday,
time.
3 o'clock.
It's the time slot the Bears were in today.
Right.
Yes. Bears. I'm sorry, not Bears. They didn't make the playoffs. Packers at Cowboys, late afternoon game on Sunday.
On Fox,
On
Troy
Fox.
Aikman, Joe Buck.
They left Fox 2 years ago, but
There's-
yeah. They'll have the Monday night game. Eagles.
You know what you know, brother.
Yeah.
You are one of those types that's tremendous.
Kevin Kalick screamed from over there, "Go Cowboys." How about them Cowboys?
Hey, today was a ton of fun, even though it was miserable. So
We are going absolutely nowhere. In fact, we are prepared to start early tomorrow if we need to. If news comes down, we will be here for you. Hit subscribe right now. If you are with us right now and for some reason not already subscribed, this is your first day of the 2024 season right now because we're going to have you covered all the way. Hit subscribe right now. Noon show tomorrow. Unless news breaks early, we will be on with you early. Nicholas Moreano will be at House Hall with all the updates, locker room reaction, whatever happens, we're here for you. CHGO. Go to allcshow.com/diehard. Become a diehard.
There's and just a reminder, the subscribe button, like when the Bears do anything in the offseason, trades, which is or draft pick related, any of it will be on. You want to hit that subscribe button. It's to your best benefit. Thank you so much.
All right. This was fun.
Yes, it was. Off season is going to be even more fun.
We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon, unless it's earlier because news breaks. Talk to you then. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.